35-311 use regulations, which is table 311-2.
Is that all you have for us?
That's all we have, unless you would like for me to read the definition into the record.
I don't think that's necessary. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. At this time, we'll open up the floor for anyone in favor of the amendment. Anyone in favor of the amendment to Chapter 35 of the City Code? Seeing no one in favor, we will call for those that are opposed to the actual amendment to the code, and we have a list, and we will call you in order so that we can maintain some semblance anyway of order.
That I'm against the so-called, because of that area, really, the area, the people there, I know most of the people, and have communicated back and forth. Now, I'll be referring to the law of the land, the liberty laws, and I'll be referring to the law of loving kindness mental hospital, and they had a flat area there where you could see people trying to escape or something like that, and at least you will stand a chance of catching whoever or catching somebody else. This place is going to be similar to that by the things that I read, that I have been picking up. On this, I see that they're going to be having a so-called school for education and businesses and vocational, like these programs. And they'll be having some kind of health clinic, mental health too. The big problem. Drug abuse. We've seen it all over. We used to have it there at State Mental Hospital. The alcoholics, the ones that were quite beyond. And we can see that they're going to have some children around there, according to what we have there. I mean, how can you be combining mental and so-called perpetrators, those sexual predators that are going to be there for recovery? You know, the bear count is going to be next door. You know they're going to be crossing them over. There's going to be danger. That's what I'm getting at, the danger. We need to be careful. We all got a conscience, and hopefully I'll get to your conscience to a degree. I can control you, you control yourself. In the name of God, we can be judging it properly. Now, I've been house to house educating the people in that region, in that area. I was born and raised in a few blocks away from there. And Nueces and Martin Street. And it's my community. I was like 20 years there, and then I went to the south side. Now, I noticed by accident this afternoon, well, I got a lot of paperwork. I work for the city of San Antonio, municipal courts. Now, I keep a lot of paperwork and so on. In May this year, the 31st, on item 9, they were talking about the kids, you know, they're going to go to recreational areas in summer to enjoy themselves and swimming pools and so on. I mean, you can, well, do we have something that we can put it up?
Your time has expired. Can you wrap it up in about 5 seconds?
Can somebody give me 3 minutes, please, from the audience? According to the law, it's allowed.
Please stand up and identify yourself. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we don't have no way of putting it up there on the screen. But we see a lot of dots and so on, and also the areas. And I went back trekking and saw the area. There's schools, there are parks, and it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause. If you all want to see, that's when I finish. This is not like this from the city. This is from the city agenda. Now, I did want to mention this and try to communicate with you. There's danger. In fact, now speaking in reference with a scripture in Leviticus, the law that Jesus used to go by, Leviticus, he says, you must not call down evil upon a deaf person. Very critical, and or a blind person, you must not put an obstacle. This is an obstacle. The definition article can be many things. As you probably know, scriptures can be read symbolically, prophetic on the parables. Now, I've been out in the houses, God is leading that I saw this lady, these tubes hanging, with her husband, and they were probably about 80, maybe 85. And I saw them there, and they could barely walk, and I said hello. I made it short because I could see that they were barely walking toward me, and we just talked a while. And there's only one couple that I saw. I saw more couples. There were people that are in a bind, they're going to be put in the street. I mean, we just can't let things like this pass. I mean, it's up to you too, but time will tell. I've been mentioning similar things like this on their city council, because that's my hangout, city council. But I'll be throwing some stones at the city people or the councilmen when the right time comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis.
All right, Abel Ruiz.
Hello, my name is Abel Ruiz, and I'm against the zoning and the UDC. First of all, this morning we talked to one of the councilmen, and we were trying to explain what this UDC does. If this thing goes into effect, it's not only going to affect the Heaven for Hope, but it's going to affect the entire city of San Antonio. Because the next day, or month, or years, that y'all want to build something else, it's already established. So it's not only going to affect this area, maybe for now, for this time of period, but in the long run, they can build another facility, another campus. As you saw that, the UDC, I mean, human services is an umbrella over everything else. So this is something that should be taken off, off of the UDC. Also, another thing is, there's a lot of information that's been coming out, newly information. One week we find out one thing, next week we find out about another thing. We just found out about this on Monday, yesterday actually. And of course it was probably on the webpage. So that was one of the things that we wanted to see if we can get a continuation to do more research on these things going on. Now also on the planning, can I touch base on that too? Or is it just the UDC?
Just the UDC amendment at this point is all we're considering.
Okay, so I would have to wait then for the...
Yes, please.
Okay, then all I want to say is, it's not only going to affect us on the west side, but it's going to affect the entire city of San Antonio. And that's one thing that I want to get people to understand, that it's not just the west side, it's the entire city of San Antonio. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rez.
Sonia. Ruben. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Ruben Espronceda.
Oh, you're gonna have the same problem you had last time. Thank you, sir. For the record, my name is Ruben B. Espronceda. I am the chairman of the SOS organization, which is Save Our Schools, also chairman of Save Our Communities. Prior to the meeting, you specifically said we must talk about the issue of the amendment. I'm going to speak directly to that amendment. We have not gotten enough time to actually take it out to the public. We're going to ask for a 60-day continuance. Now, you're going to say, oh, well, we're not going to give you no 60-day. I hope you do. Because this amendment falls far short of the protection of the city charter and the UDC code. Under the criteria that you go by, the approval criteria, you have to meet all the different sections. It doesn't meet that. And I don't like reading this to you. I hate anybody reading this to you, but I have to read it for the record. I'm sorry.
Let's go have meet. Let's go meet, Wayne. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go
Okay.
meet. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go meet. Come on, let's go.
The
Let's go. Let's go. I'll meet you at your house.
establishment of this new group or new code will impede on the neighborhood. Number 8 on your approval criteria, the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the proposed use shall not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare. That in itself tells you that if this amendment is put in, and if it endangers the neighborhood, you can't approve this tonight. Now you're probably saying, well, how can you prove to us tonight that this amendment for the Haven of Hope, because I know it's being done for this, how will this amendment hurt the neighborhood? It will hurt the neighborhood by allowing 2,235 new inhabitants into this neighborhood. What we did was, how would that 2,235 inhabitants impact the neighborhood? We happened to call the San Antonio Police Department. We asked them for
Your time is up.
Miss Pin 3 minutes.
Continue.
What we asked for, how many police calls have been made to 910 West Commerce, which is right now the shelter, which is the SAM shelter. Within 2 years, 500 calls were made, ranging from suicides to disturbance to just outright reports. The suicide one was very, I was looking at that. There was 12, one a year. Now, when you have 500 calls, police calls only. Now, EMS was 200. So, I mean, we're talking about a large range of things that are happening at the SAM shelter. The other process is the amount of the railroads again. We talked about the railroads. I was talking to Councilwoman Cisneros, and she told me that the railroads weren't a problem, but that is a safety feature because the homeless have to walk from Frio Street to the Haven of Hope, and that's right across the railroad tracks. You have railroads going one an hour there. So you are putting these people in danger, and then you're putting the neighborhood into a danger zone itself. So are you going to amend this knowing today that on Section 8, you're not looking at the public's health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare? So there is a criteria telling you that you cannot amend this. The other problem that we have over there is that Bowie Elementary, the school we saved this year alone, we saved it because they were going to shut it down. Not because of the Haven of Hope, everybody's going to say that, of course, but it was because there was less kids there. The enrollment wasn't as high. Now, we kind of factored in what was going on, but that school is important to that area. And we have the Haven of Hope there. We're going to have drug addicts We're gonna have sex offenders. We're gonna have people that are drunk. We're gonna have people there in front of our kids. How would you like to have that in front of your school? Tough question. How would you like to have it in front of your children? This board, again, checks and balances. This has not been properly put out to the public. It really hasn't. And for you to tell the West Side group, the people that are here, that they're not all organized. They are. They have our support. Even though we're in the South Side, even though we're in the East Side, even though we're in the inner city.
Ruben, your time is up again. Is there someone else that will see time? Mario Sanchez. Mario Sanchez.
Mario Sanchez.
Thank you. Continue.
The importance of not allowing this amendment to go through is that we have the protection for the whole city of San Antonio. Now, if a Haven for Hope group wants to go to your neighborhood, if they have this amendment on there, they can.
There's one right there.
And if they decide to circumvent the process like they've done now, guess what? You're not going to have a voice either. It's not right for you to give an amendment to the UDC code when it does not protect the neighborhoods. That is why you're here. You're here to protect our neighborhoods. My neighborhood. Their neighborhood. We have asked several individuals, and they came out with the criteria themselves. And I'm going to read it to you, but I'm going to I'll give you a copy. I have one copy now. The citizens group, SOS, also the citizens group, Save Our Community, will like these conditions before this zoning starts, before you amend it, before you put this, that the city of San Antonio, as well as any other entities and individuals associated with the Haven of Hope project, will be held liable for any and all crimes against the community and its members perpetrated by individuals residing in or around the receiving areas of the Haven of Hope facility. Number 2, the city of San Antonio will reroute the Union Pacific Railroad lines before any construction or rezoning takes place. The city of San Antonio will remove high-tension utility lines before any construction or rezoning takes place. The city of San Antonio will remediate contamination soil before any construction or rezoning takes place. The city of San Antonio will guarantee the purchase of any of all resident homes within a 1-mile radius of this facility who are forced to move out of the area because of fear of danger to their children or threat to their health and welfare of their family as a result of the proximity of the Haven for Hope facility, and to ensure comparable, decent, safe, and sanitary housing replacement and replacement housing payments will be included in the price payment in this cost. Increase in mortgage, interest rates, incidental expenses, and replacement housing, rental assistance, down payment, and moving costs, and other related expenses. Number 6, the city of San Antonio will recognize a citizens oversight committee made up of residents who live within a 1-mile radius of the facility.
Your time has expired again, sir. Is there someone else who's willing to cede their time? Thank you, ma'am.
The committee will meet monthly and will report to the city and to the management of the facilities any problems or anticipated problems with any aspect of the facility. The committee will also affect any affected residents will have the right to seek injunction relief and damage for unsolved problems of state in state or district court. Number 7, the city of San Antonio will guarantee Bowie Elementary will not be utilized for the Haven of Hope activity. Number 8, the city of San Antonio will guarantee reimbursement of all tax revenue lost to the San Antonio School District as a result of the Haven of Hope project. And that means when a family moves out, the city of San Antonio will reimburse the San Antonio Independent School District for any property loss. The city of San Antonio will also reimburse local businesses and lost revenues resulting from the negative impact as a result of the proximity of the Haven of Hope project. And the city of San Antonio will improve the infrastructure within a 1 mile radius. That's including sidewalks, drainage, traffic signals, street repairs. We're basically asking you to vote this down for now. We're asking for a 60-day continuance so we can talk. Because you have not talked to the community. Although we've had a public hearing, that wasn't really talking to the community. We must, you, not we, you're the board. You have to follow the UDC code and you must follow the criteria. The criteria tells you do not endanger this neighborhood. That's what we're asking. We're asking for a 60-day continuance. Let's talk what's going on. What's going to happen what is going to happen to our children? What is going to happen to this neighborhood? The problem with the Haven for Hope, it's in the wrong place. We have found a location that will suit what they want. When you put 2,235 folks and you only have 800 beds, where are the other 1,435 going to go? I'll answer the question. It's going to go in, they're going into the community. Do not put this burden on this community. The citizen group that we have has found a better location. Give us a 60-day continuance, we'll talk about it, and I'll tell you what, it's a win-win situation. But don't amend this UDC code. This is bad. This is bad not only for this neighborhood, but the whole city of San Antonio. Thank you.
Next on the list is Maria Elba Rocha. Maria Elba Rocha. Next is Dora Pettis.
My name is Dora Perez. I have some pictures. Can I put them on the computer? No.
Our overhead is, we're passing around, our overhead is broken.
Again, it's posting again.
Those are some pictures from San Diego. I myself went down there, and they're just pictures from the shelter.
Is this related specifically to the Unified Development Code amendments?
It's
If it's related to the zoning case, I would prefer to refer your comments later on that. This is just to the amendment. This amendment will allow this kind of an institution to go anywhere in the city. Has nothing to do specifically with the location in Prospecto neighborhood.
well, then on the amendment, I'm against it for the amendment and for the zoning.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Well, can I get a chance to talk later about?
Yes, you signed up for both sheets, right? Yes, ma'am. You'll be able to speak later.
Next is, I think it's Maricela Patterson.
Hello, everybody. First of all, before my minutes start, I'd like to ask a question. We're addressing specifically only the amendments
Yes, ma'am.
at this moment. Okay. Well, my name is Maricela Garza, and I am here as a concerned individual. I'm here, actually, it's the most that I've come to this building in the past couple months. I'm here as a concerned citizen, and some of the things that I'm concerned about are the very issues that we're dealing with in reference to the amendments that's proposed here in front of us. And I'd like to start with this. First of all, I'd like to make it a point that I'd like for us for a 60-day continuance regarding this amendment that we're trying to put in here to the UDC, because there's so much information that has not been addressed to the community. The community has not been informed very well on this amendment. It's too new for the community. They don't know at this moment the great impact that it might have on their area where they presently live. So a 60-day continuance is respectfully asked of you. I'd like to start off talking a little bit about a book that you are pretty much familiar with. It's the UDC Code Book. One of the things that it says here is that the purpose of the UDC Code Book is to promote health, safety, morals, and the general welfare of the community. It is designed to make it possible for all those concerned with land use and development to have access to all city legislation with respect. The purpose is to ensure that notification and procedures comply with the state regulations, provide ample opportunity for the public to participate in the land development process, providing for the efficient time processing of development permits, and to promote the readability of the document for general public and for applications requesting a permit. The reason I'm reading this, and I'm sure that you guys are familiar with this because this is what you live by. This is a great concern. The amendments that we're proposing here pose a great concern for the community. I was at your last planning meeting in this very same room, and on that day of the zoning, actually the planning meeting, I spoke against the amendments as well. Some of the concerns that were voiced were, we're considering such a great amount of services in one campus or one area. And this is a great concern for us because I'm a social worker, professional social worker, and I have a master's degree. I presently work with mentally ill individuals, and the concern that I'm having is the fact that the Human Services Campus is proposing to provide this great amount of services to individuals that may or may not be mentally unstable, individuals that are dealing with issues related to substance abuse, detoxification, concerns that are mentioned here. And one of the ones that's kind of struck out a little bit odd to me was the fact that they're even considering like an animal shelter. And I don't see how one can combine services that are for individuals presented with needs that live in the community, whether they're homeless or not. I don't see how they can tie those two things together.
Excuse me, my name is Rafael Garza. I'll give my...
Oh, it's Ralph? Okay, thank you.
So that is a great concern for me. Aside from the fact that there's a great magnitude of services that are going to be targeting a great multitude of individuals. I believe it's over 600 to 800 individuals that they're hoping to serve. That poses a great concern to me. Well, in the last planning meeting, I'd also like to mention, and I'd like for it to go on record, that there's even confusion among our own individuals that are proposing the amendment. In our last planning meeting, we had our former councilwoman Patty Rayo come up and speak, and she mentioned to her panel that she believed that they had pulled out the housing portion. Well, in that very meeting, it was posed that the housing portion had not been taken out. If there's confusion among our leaders or people in leadership that are pushing for this amendment, where are we as the community? Where is our feedback, and where do we come in to this picture? We're the ones that are going to be primarily affected by this, and till this day, the housing portion stands. The housing portion stands in there, and which takes me to my next point of concern. The amendment talks about a portion where it says the Amendment 3A housing hotel taller than 35 feet. Well, how high do we want this to be? This area that they're considering, it's going to affect everyone, not just the 07 zip code or the West Side area. This area that they're looking at, this is going to affect San Antonio. Our area that they're proposing this amendment, which they seem to have combined it to benefit Haven for Hope, what they're looking at, it's primarily a residential area, one-story homes. Why would we want something 35 feet? On this code book here that you guys have as well, it mentions, lots shall not be rezoned in a way that it's substantially inconsistent with the uses of the surrounding area. And I'm putting this right out of your UDC book, and I know that you're familiar with it. This amendment, passing this amendment is gonna bring great problems to our community that we have seen in past experiences with the Mirasol homes. In the Mirasol homes, City of San Antonio pulled out from, or moved away from building high-density homes because of the problems that it was bringing. It was bringing problems that were related to the high density. The areas that are usually considered, of course, for these type of permits. I mean, one of the areas that we're looking at is the west side area. Right there's residential homes. And I'm sure throughout the day you'll probably see maps, or you've seen maps. And if you please consider, we'd like for you to understand that considering these amendments is not good. The community, first of all, has not been informed of the possible damage that it can cause to their area. And it sounds all good, but how can you put together?
Your time is expired again. I hate to keep you under.
I'll give him my time.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. How can you put together an animal shelter with human services? We talk about compassion towards our homeless. We talk about compassion towards the needy. Where's the compassion towards the community? Community that has possibly faced similar struggles and have overcome, trials in their life. A community that has struggled to meet what their dream is in life, to build a home in the West Side area. What are we looking at? Where's our compassion? It's not, we've said it a million times, and I hope the media plays this because I'm so glad that they're here. We've said it 100 times. We're not against this, this project that they're proposing and the fact that this amendment relates directly to it. We're not against none of that. We're against the injustices that the communities might face by passing amendments like this, where a person will not only have to pull 5 permits if they want to get a service support system going. They'll pull 1. And eventually from that 1, maybe they might want to put I'll start off with an educational center that maybe can have a daycare. Well, you know what? Since we got the zoning, maybe I can go ahead and add a detoxification center. How would you like your children to be right next to a detox center? I too have witnessed the process that a person goes through detoxification. It's difficult, and sometimes there's no control. And I'm asking of you, this is not only a dangerous amendment, but it's inconsiderate of what the services are trying to propose. This amendment requires a little bit more thinking, and that is why we're asking for a 60-day continuance. Not only do we need to relook at what this amendment will create, but I believe the city of San Antonio and our board here, this is a new board. A lot of new individuals, I'm sure that you guys are inundated with a lot of paperwork and a lot of things to read, like the big code book. I'm sure that there's so much, but this is playing with the lives of our people. It's playing with the lives of our people, because if a high density building is raised, what will that do to our homes, our values, our properties? In the UDC code book, and I might not have to read this out to you, it talks about, the proposed use shall not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair the property values within the neighborhood. How would you feel with the housing 35 feet high or higher? How high can it go? There's no limit. There's no limit. And that's our question we're raising. We have a concern for this UDC code amendment. It needs more thought. Our city officials need to give it more thought. The people in favor of this need to give it more thought, because just like you're trying to serve individuals of the homeless community, you're hurting an already existing community. And this hurts us because we're taxpayers and we're voters.
Ma'am, your time has expired again.
I'll give him my 3 minutes, as I wasn't able to speak at the.
You've already been up. You've already been up.
But I didn't say nothing.
We're not gonna be doing votes.
No.
Excuse me. I am Hortensia Raya, last month.
Hortensia Ray.
You are not signed up to speak on the amendments. I can only have seated time for people who have actually signed up wanting to speak.
Rudy Sanchez.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank you very much. One of the final points that also from the UDC, it says the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the proposed use shall not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare. Well, this directly affects our comfort. We're uncomfortable having to see this amendment as part of the city law, city charter. This certainly makes us uncomfortable because there are so many things that can happen in high-density dwelling. We have great concern, and I know, I'm not too sure how familiar the board is with, all the details of the amendment, but if I can just reiterate, and I have a lot of people. It says here, a human service campus, so it sounds so neat. A lot of services for our people that are in great need, or individuals that are in need. Well, a use which multiple structures and related grounds or portions thereof used to provide a multitude of services include, but are not limited to, the following: emergency food, medical, or shelter services. Here we go. Animal care facilities, schools, including educational, businesses, and vocational, community health care clinics, including those that provide mental health care, alcohol or drug abuse services, information and referral services for the dependent care, housing, once again, emergency services, transportation assistance, and as we can read that. Doesn't that jump out to you? What kind of thought was given to this amendment to include services that are geared towards community, towards individuals, towards people that are in need with an animal shelter? Animal shelter services. I'm kind of disappointed at that. We are voters, we deserve the right to have a decision on this. And we ask of you to please give us our 60-day continuance to give this more thought. Who knows, maybe a little later they might pull out the housing portion. Maybe a little later they might even consider pulling out the animal shelter or animal care facilities. I don't get this. I really like for some understanding in this portion. The amendments 3A and 3B, I am against them. And I will stand against them because I am a social service provider myself. I utilize some of the very services that are listed on this, and I resent the fact that some religious individuals have called me a hypocrite, because I'm not a hypocrite. I stand till this day a social worker, and I provide quality service to my patients in my facility where I work. I provide quality care, and I too provide referrals to these very facilities. We had a meeting with our community person where we asked some of the homeless that they brought in to speak in their favor. If they built this considered proposed shelter somewhere else, would you go? Yeah, I'd go anywhere, wherever they put it. That was their response, and we have that on video. I think that these amendments really need to be looked at, because what happens is when people put together something that's rushed just to meet their needs, it's not properly put together.
Again, your time has expired.
Thank you.
Name again, please, ma'am. You're not on this list.
Rosa Reese.
Not on the list to speak to the
Yeah,
amendment.
they said they removed it before.
Yeah.
They got signed up.
I got the list after 6 o'clock, so. Is there anyone else in here that would like to see your time?
Nadie firmó.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you very much.
You can sit down in the floor, Mama. Next week, come.
Okay, we've got 3 more minutes.
Here we go. Well, there's so much to say. I had some questions that I had originally written out, related directly to the amendment, especially the 35 feet or taller. You know, how much higher than 35 feet can such a structure go? How many stories can it be? Will it be able to limit any height? Is the height related to an existing structure or a new structure? You know what, I think that answers our question. You know, I mentioned earlier in my conversation that our community is primarily surrounded by residents. Yeah, we have a couple of businesses, small businesses that have already been bought up by the city. You know, but the rest of it, what's around it? Surrounding it are residents. Surrounding it are residents. Residents of individuals that have worked hard, to actually stay away from the busyness, the traffic, the congestion. You know, I'm sure people decide to stay in the West Side area, not, you know, so much because of how beautiful it is. I mean, we have a lot of things that we're trying to bring over, such as shelters, soup kitchens, things like that, where there's a lot of homeless individuals. You know, we stay there because we like it the way it is. We don't want any structure 35 feet higher, and even if it's not 35 feet, the dwelling does not match. It's not consistent. There are residences surrounding the proposed area that this amendment will affect. And I know we're talking about the amendments in relation also to the Haven for Hope project. You know, that's a huge magnitude of a project. And the areas, you know, the maps that are presented to you, I'm sure they represent to you the blighted areas of the West Side area. The areas that nobody wants to go to because they're abandoned. You know, I've said it before that I probably feel safer if the areas continue to be abandoned warehouses as to having something there that's going to be of a high dwelling over 2, 3, 5, 4, whatever amount of feet. You know, this is a concern to us. You know, what are we trying to get across? What are we trying to accomplish with this? Let's look at this amendment properly. Let's give it more time. We're asking for a 60-day continuance, and I repeat that over because there's too much information out there. Too much information that each single word can direct you towards something else. Each single word can mean an animal shelter. You know, what type of shelter? Is it you know, what kind of animals are you going to be bringing in that are going to receive social services, the individuals from the community? You know, the words that are there, they're there for a purpose. And with one little word changed, even if you hold out the housing, they're still going to be affecting other areas of the community. And this is what the community has not been explained. The community hasn't been informed accordingly. We're asking for a 60-day continuance.
Okay, any more time?
Jack Finger.
Well, Chairman Cheryl, other members of the commission, my name is Jack M. Finger. This is the preliminary prerequisites for the zoning. In order for that to happen, this has to happen. See this long list of services here. Emergency food, medical, shelter services, educational, business, vocational. These are all nice things. But you see, before you put something in for the homeless, the ideal is that you've got to make sure that the people who are already living there are not harmed. This is what you're supposed to do. Yes, none of us are against helping the homeless. And no one should ever accuse us of such a travesty. What we are against is the future of this community. Now, I don't live in District 5, I live in District 1. The rest of you are my commissioner. This is right on the borderline. This is going to affect District 1. Now, Mr. Valdez, alcohol and drug abuse service. It's our understanding that jail spillover is going to come over here. People who, jail inmates are going to come to this facility that isn't going to be secure enough. Well, it's certainly not secure as a jail. Yet we're going to put them over there. And supposedly 1,000 feet away from the residents are going to have the buffers up. I'm sorry, how frequently do jail inmates, how do the criminals abide by such laws? It's my understanding they went to jail in the first place because they violated such laws. Now, I mean, if this is such a good idea, why don't you amend your own residences with these so-called amendments so you put it in your neighborhoods? Assuming you guys really mean this, you really want to do this, that's why I say this is a bad idea. The same reason you would say it's a bad idea, for the same reason your neighbors would think it's a bad idea. Mr. Greenheat, my friend, I'm sorry, sir, this is a bad idea. I would say never change this. But Mr. Espenseta and company to think at least a 60-day continuation. They're trying to compromise with you, for God's sake. Allow that to happen, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Desiree Garza. Desiree Garza. Then I have Ferris Hahn.
Don't loosen up a little bit. Look like you're tense. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, y'all. To people in radio land, TV land, internet land, I'm having mixed reactions over this amendment. It's only in case that y'all have it. And we need to have more public hearings. And this coming Thursday, the Haven for Hope amendment, whatever you want to call it, the city council is going to vote on it. And I've been telling people that this is a done deal. Now, they were saying about policeman security. Now, we got some policemen right in the back, right? Take them down there to that sound shelter. That sound shelter needs to be cleaned up right now. It's a rat hole. Downtown is a rat hole. If you ever been downtown, when y'all leave the city, go to the sound shelter. There's a young lady, about 18 years old. I think I told some of y'all about 2 weeks ago. And she said, "Sir, will you give me some money?" And I said, "Why you always asking people for money? They got the sound shelter." And she said she went there, she almost got raped. The police department needs to clean that mess up. Nobody should be laying around on those sidewalks, sleeping up under that filthy bridge. They ought to take the police wagon and put everybody in jail. You got people that need to go to the sound shelter, that they're afraid. So anyway, make a long story short, I was at Subway yesterday evening, and y'all need to go to Subway to lose weight and you can really feel good. I went from 248 to 222 pounds. And the lady was sitting there. She's 18 years old. And her family abandoned her. So I told her, I said, next time I get some money, I'm going to give you some money. So I gave her $5. And every time I see her, I'm going to give her some money to help her get off these sorry streets. We don't have enough bike patrol right now in the downtown area to really work with the homeless people. You got the gangbangers walking around with their pants falling off behind. You know what I'm saying? They had me surrounded one day. Just came out of the Subway. And this guy was jumping up and down, talking about, "This is my turf." I said, "Wait a minute, who's the leader?" He said, "I'm the leader." I said, "You the one I'm gonna get." My dad always told me, "You get the leader." I said, "Now the rest of you guys, y'all just get out of here." I'm still talking about the shelter. It's not safe. The shelter we have right now, I would give each one of you $5 just to walk down Congress Street. Now that's good. They want to have dinner and all this other stuff. That's good. That's not the problem. The problem is we need to have more public hearings.
we need to be on TV, you know? And I just want to thank the Express News who put me in their paper last week. They quoted me. And the guy was sitting there, I said, you know, y'all never put me in y'all's paper. So he put me in his paper, so I was just jumping up and down for joy. People reading about me all over the city. So that's all I'm going to say on this right now. I just want to say for y'all, just loosen up a little bit. This is a public hearing. We had a public hearing when I was in school, the 12th grade. My teacher, I said, ma'am, how is this going to help me? She said, well, when you get grown and the city council be making the wrong rules, you're going to be down there protesting. And I used to be shy, Mr. Jerome, sure. I was afraid of people. I was having an anxiety attack, boom, boom. And I told my mother one day, I said, Mama, something's wrong with me. And they Christian people, oh, just the Holy Ghost I got a hold to. I didn't know what an anxiety attack was. And I used to be afraid of people.
Ferris, your time has expired.
Yeah, I know it is, but I just want y'all to loosen up a little bit.
Signed up to speak regarding the UDC amendment. So at this time, I will open it up to my fellow commissioners for any discussion. There's a separate sheet for the zoning case. We are considering two different votes that we are taking action on. There were two separate sheets out there. Any discussion with my colleagues? Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could ask one of the staff members to come up, and I think Maricela Gatso raised a good question about, can you explain the animal care facility that's part of the Human Services campus?
Good afternoon, Dennis Conrad, State Department Community Initiatives. When we look at best practices around the country, the campuses that have temporary animal care facilities were able to attract many more homeless people in. It had a couple purposes. One, people who had refused to come in to receive services from other shelters came in when their animals were cared for. Secondly, having a temporary care facility there for animals also played a therapeutic role in calming down the population because they could interact with the pets. And thirdly, it helped promote the public health because we could treat the animals, spay and neuter, and stop the spread of unwanted animals, stray animals in the community. So having looked at best practices around the country, we think this is something that's very needed. And also, as we've had conversations with our homeless population and inquired why they don't enter shelters or any of the other programs, many of them have pets and refuse to leave the pets to enter the shelter.
Okay, and Mr. Campa, I appreciate your answer about best practices. So you would say that the majority of this definition was not conjured up by the city of San Antonio. We took into consideration, or the city of San Antonio took into consideration other uses of the other cities that we've heard from, Los Angeles, Miami, Chicago, Phoenix.
That's correct, Commissioner Martinez. What we did, we consulted with the other cities, we visited, we saw how they managed the areas, and also we thought it would help us play a role in cutting down on stray animals where homeless people frequent. But it was one of the national best practices, and it was something, if we were going to look at treating some of the root causes of homelessness and being more comprehensive in our approach, the best practices said this is something we needed to look at including. So we've consulted with our animal care facility, and we intend to have a temporary animal care program there.
Okay, my second question is the steps that were put into place to announce the UDC amendment. I recall I was at a meeting at the Bazan Library, I believe, back in early August. Was that August, where there was a meeting to announce the zoning to the public? The zoning at the end of June. Okay, was this UDC amendment announced at that time also?
No.
Or was it just or was it the process about when it was going to be coming to zoning, or it was going to be a public hearing and zoning informational, and then there was going to be a zoning decision and then council? Those were the dates that were mentioned, did I recall? Okay, I couldn't remember, in that meeting was in June 26th. Okay, I couldn't recall the exact date, but I wanted to know was adequate notice given at that time. I do remember being at a meeting that the commission was invited to back in June. It was on library to hear about this issue. But, and my last question, Dennis, probably isn't directly for you, but I appreciate you answering my questions, Mr. Kampa. Maybe more towards zoning staff. There's concern about the process and not specifically about adopting this amendment, but should this go in we hear a lot of examples of Port Authority or Brooks City base. Is that something that somebody can just go in and build? Or it says that there's an S. It requires an S, which is a specific use permit. Can you explain the process on how that works? If I have, it says that there's an S under C3. Okay, so can I just go get a property with C3 and build this? Or do I need that specific use? And if I do need that specific use, what do I need to do to get that? Is there a public process involved with that?
Mr. Martinez, whenever you find a piece of property that's on C3 and they wish to institute this use, it would not be permissible by right in that district. It would actually require a public hearing process before this commission and the city council to approve a specific use permit, which would also require a site plan to show the overall development scheme of the project. So I don't know if that's really what you're asking, but C3 as a permitted use by right, no, it would require a specific use permit in conjunction with that district.
Okay, so anywhere it goes, it would require a public hearing with the notices as required by state law.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. That answers my question.
Mr. Westheimer.
My question is also for staff and Mr. Matthew, this may be for you.
I understand a lot of ways and mechanisms that have to mesh and make that happen. In your brochure or some of the material that I read, you indicate that this is a 22-acre campus. Would it be any chance today to rezone just about half the area? And so there's another 11 acres, roughly 11 acres. And I think I see it on the inset on page 37 of the book. But my question is, given concern with the process and communication, understanding what you're going to do, I'm totally comfortable with what you've offered so far internal to that 11 acres. And the things to the east and around really going to be part of the campus, affiliated with the area. What are we going to see further to the north and west that's closer to the community that is concerned? And how is that going to help to take care of some of the concerns in terms of safety and security and comfort?
We're starting with the buffer zone all around here. This is a parking lot. There's a parking operation here, parking operation here. These are for our staff parking. This is where the staff are all volunteers. Not all of them. We have a little bit of parking over on this side, but most of our parking is on this edge, which will also be part of our security umbrella. Under the current zoning that exists, parking is acceptable. In fact, it will be mostly underneath the power line. Through the power line goes up here. So we're using that, trying to use a joint use, common use. Our commitment for any of this future operation is a lot of lessons have been learned in this process. Going back to your question, and we all accept apology, responsibility for that. And we will not do anything unless it's the 2 zoning commissioners from that area, the 2 city council people from that area, and the neighborhood being involved in the process from the entire A to Z on that and go, period.
That's part of the process. So what's the vision?
What's that?
What's the vision? What's going to be
Vision would be, and we started to take people to Chicago. They have supportive housing. Supportive housing is not affordable housing. Two different issues. Ideally, to make the campus work the best, is to put supportive housing here, just like Father Joe has down in San Diego. He has a major operation. We can't fit that many in, and we wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to change the density. We want it to be a nice transition down. But again, we don't want to go to any zoning unless we have diagrams, drawings, and neighborhood input through the entire process.
So we can expect that we'll see another future rezoning case. Just for supportive housing, are we talking duplexes, fourplexes, apartments?
Sort of a mixed use is ideally because you wanted to transition from our campus all the way down to the individual single dwelling. And so it'd be nice to have literally you know, if you're looking at profile, you'd like to have it come like this and it transitions up nicely.
Which also reduces the density now, as I see.
It naturally solves density.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gabbard?
I need to talk to the money man. I understand where you're getting the starting money. I mean, you're trying to get starting money from the public and the private sector. So let's say it's 10 years from now, I'm a taxpayer here in San Antonio, and it's time to budget for this facility. How is it going to be paid for on an annual basis? I don't understand.
Well, each service that's going to be part of the center, whether it's SAM or the demo, they will come across with the same board, and they'll be responsible for funding that operation, just like they're responsible today. The only new money that needs to really come in is for the operation of Haven for Hope organization, which will be Robert, which will be the caseworkers, safety, security of the area. And we have talked to the United Way about the caseworkers, and they want to be a partner in that part. And then we will have fundraising. We just had a golf tournament with New Star, which is the company I'm associated with. We raised $1.3 million. Channel 12 has indicated they will have to put on a telethon every year to raise money. So we'll be just like every other nonprofit. We're going to be working hard to raise money, but I will tell you this. $46 million is a lot of money to be raised for a nonprofit. I don't think it's been done in San Antonio. But we haven't started our campaign yet, and everyone I have talked to has really given a major gift. We've raised $15 million already. So everyone recognizes the need for this center to help the homeless and what it's going to do for San Antonio. And the money it's going to save our city, the difference it's going to make in quality of life. So I feel very confident that Haven for Hope will be able to raise money for the construction of the facility and also for the operation.
Okay, so basically, it's not public money, or tax money that you're not asking the city or the taxpayers to pay for this, is that right?
No, not at all.
Okay, so 10 years from now, when you're applying that will go, well, that's not what goes about 8 times. Everything will be cool, right? They'll keep everything going. Because, see, a lot of this is built on faith that you're money raising.
I know that.
That's all.
Any other commissioner? I have two quick questions, and I'm not sure who's going to be able to answer. Mr. Martin, you're going to be able to answer one, but I got on page 5 of the handout. I noticed that there was a newsletter that was dated July 2007. I'd like to know what the basic distribution for that was. Not specific, just generic who it went to.
Beginning with the April 26th meeting, we began to compile an email list of people who were interested in the subject. So those people received it, and we did probably a several block area around campus also. And then as we began to have additional meetings, received additional input from people, we began to send to everyone. So we have an extensive email list, and it's fairly broad. So email, but also we do door to door.
Okay, thank you. To answer my question, Mr. Martin. I just want to. I think I fully understand the answer already. But I want to get it clear in my mind. If this campus is not built, can you briefly delineate those areas that will go online in this immediate area, regardless of what happens with this campus?
The UHS campus operation, the CHCS campus operation, And the CHCS has, in essence, 6.1 million from the state. That all comes online.
Okay, and what about the Christian Dennis?
That's if this campus doesn't go, that doesn't go. If Dental doesn't go, that doesn't go, Head Start doesn't go.
Okay, thank you. Just want to clarify that. Any other questions? Mr. Valdez?
It's Margaret, one more time. Yeah. I just have a question in regards to, just concerns me, but the folks out here that were in opposition, their concerns in regards to children, families, when they come to the Havenville Hall, perhaps they're gonna have to walk through the prospective courtyard to register perhaps. Is there, how is that going to be, what's the plan on that to separate them as soon as possible from them seeing the.
I was going to go, I don't know if we can just keep with this map. Yeah, we'll just stick with this map here. This campus down here has there we go. Completely separate, different opening here than the main campus up here. So there's not only a different, completely separate operation and flow. We have a warehouse that's ours between it, and then the most important thing is you have the San Antonio Police Department and our Haven for Homemade security operation right at the front door security, right physically there.
Does that answer your question? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, maybe forgive me, all of you, for beating a dead horse here, but who is the ranking city manager's office person here? Thank you. I can't help but want to give you the opportunity now to respect these West Side residents and with all due respect to you and your staff, who I know are under a tremendous amount of pressure, would you like to take a moment to apologize for this process or to justify it, one or the other?
Well, let me say this, that I think you've heard from Dennis Compa before about, certainly what we've been working on in the schedule that you saw there in terms of the meetings and our work on the property and the site selection process. But let me add one other thing, though, that perhaps Dennis didn't expound on, and that is that when we were meeting with the property owners, the business property owners, when we were looking at site selection, one of the pieces that we had to be very cognizant of, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it, is that we, as stewards of the public dollar, needed to make sure that we were bringing forward a site that was an effective site, one that was reasonable in terms of cost. So naturally, we were looking at two different properties, two different sites. We had already done a process of looking at multiple sites, but we were down to two. Recognizing that, as you heard earlier from Robert and Mr. Greeley, this approach of being close to other services is critical for this to be successful. So one of the things that we were doing was making sure that we had an affordable site, that we had a site that had minimal disruption to the community, minimal disruption to a business community as well, and that it was one that was an effective site in terms of having minimal environmental, the cost was kept down. So I think those are important things because.
They are, but you're not answering my question.
Well, no, you asked me if.
That's all important. That's all incredibly important, everything you're bringing up. But it doesn't explain the 5-month gap between making your site selection and bringing the community into this process.
Well,
and that's what I would like you to address.
No, well, it does, and I was trying to explain that to you without being, I'm not trying to debate this with you, I'm just suggesting to you that
I'm
there were
certainly not debating.
a lot of pieces to this effort, and one of those included site selection and the importance of all of the elements coming into place and falling into place, and one of those was due diligence, so we were doing that during that period of time.
Okay, all of that ranked ahead of community involvement.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, what are you saying?
I'm saying that we were working on those pieces during that time period. The community piece that we were talking about, we did come to the community in April and talk to them about the site selection, the proposal for the campus. And we did that in April before groundbreaking. Could we have done it sooner if that's what you're asking me? Certainly,
Now you're getting to it, okay.
certainly. And we have said that to you.
Should have done it sooner?
Should have done it sooner,
Should have done it
absolutely.
sooner, okay. That's, and so there is an acknowledgement, I take it from the city manager's office, is that's where you are?
Yes,
Okay, good. I'm not familiar with the bureaucracies, so forgive me.
yes,
You're acknowledging that you all should have done that sooner.
yes.
Okay, I appreciate that very much, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Martinez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is more of just a comment. I completely agree with my colleague, Commissioner Westheimer. However, though, as being the longest tenured zoning commission on this mission of 6.5 years, I don't think I've ever seen one process that has been done to the satisfaction of this magnitude, from City South to Rio Improvement Overlay Districts to historic districts, because with the impact that it's going to have on these people's lives, we could have started this process a year ago, and we would still be here with concerns about safety, security, and welfare that Mr. Marbot and Mr. Greehey have tried to address. So I agree that there should have been dialogue. Mr. Compa graciously acknowledged that, and I appreciate you doing that last meeting, because in our work session today, I vehemently spoke about the west side being left out and being stepped over time and time again. But it doesn't matter when we would have started it, we would still be here. And when we are here to answer the questions. So I think it's important to point that out. And I completely agree with my colleague, but I've never seen it done perfectly, because you're dealing with people's lives and their safety. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll open the floor up to those in favor of this case, and we will call you up in order.
In favor, I have first on page 1, Greg Bobkin. You don't, all of you, when I call your name, you can wave and say I'm for or against, and we will pass it by if that's all you want to do. Okay?
My name is Gregory Bobkin, and I'm actually for this payment of. I have been on this a lot in my life. I'm a college graduate. It was never in my volunteering registration that I was going to graduate college and be home. But due to a mental illness, I am home. If it hadn't been for Corazon Ministries and the people that work there, like Wanda House, my whole John's family, and seen something in me that needed help, I wouldn't have got the help I needed. I would still be carrying 60 pounds worth of clothes around with me every day. Because at the Salvation Army, at Sam, you're not allowed to leave your belongings there. At the Haiti for Help, you're going to be allowed to leave your stuff there. You're not going to have to worry about it. Be able to get the medical treatment you need. You'll be still hooked up for CAP, First Center for Healthcare Services. You're not going to have to worry about carrying every piece of belongings you have with you. You're going to be able to have a good place to sleep. Not have any fear about whether or not you're going to be left out in the cold because they don't have enough beds, or they don't have enough mats to put down on the floor. If it hadn't been for Corazon Ministries, Inc., CAP, Center for Healthcare Services, I would never have gotten the help I needed. And if you don't allow this to happen, then you have no vision. And if it's people that don't have a vision, if people didn't have a vision, Corazon Ministries wouldn't have opened 6 years ago. We wouldn't have a National Transportation Interstate Commerce Commission. We wouldn't have the FAA. It's people that have vision that have allowed us to do what we need to do to help people. And that's what this center is going to do. It's going to help people. That's what it comes down to. And it's not only going to help the homeless, and there's more coming in every day. And they don't come in on United Airlines. They came in on Greyhound. And they can't carry the bag half mile to either of the shelters from the Greyhound station. If we don't open this center, we don't acknowledge the fact that we need it and we need it now, then we are really doing an injustice not only to the people of San Antonio, but to the homeless. Every day, people become homeless, and it only takes a split second. Get sick, miss a check, if that child is sick, get divorced, and you're gonna be homeless. But I didn't expect it, but it happened.
Foster, and after her is Carlos Martinez. Come on up, ma'am, and introduce yourself.
You all want to get home. I'm a member of the Downtown Residents Association and a member of its board and also liaison to River Hope. And we totally support the campus of Haven of Hope. I think it's a superb idea.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Foster. After Carlos is Jed Morgan.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Carlos Martinez. I'm President of the American GI Forum National Veterans Outreach Program. We've been doing social service programs here in San Antonio for the past 35 years. A couple of years ago, we undertook the task of creating the Residential Center for Homeless Veterans in the corner of Martin and Medina Street. We've been there now for 2 years, and it is the only shelter that houses 110 individuals, men and women, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We provide security services, case management, transformational services for each one of these individuals. And in those 2 years, we've not had one single incident that disturbed the community. I think that's important for you all to listen and hear about because it's a very difficult decision to have before you. I think we've also, you should know, we've received the Community Spirit Award with the Catalan Square Business Association that's around that district. They saw that as a new development for a historical area that needs revitalization. Secondly, as a business entity, when we were there and we heard about Haven for Hope and found out it was going to be our neighbors, we were concerned. We, before setting up our structure at going around the country, studied a lot of different models and felt that we had put together an operational plan that was very successful and had been very successful. We didn't have anything disturbing with harmony. And so we studied Haven for Hope development very closely. We met with them repeatedly. And we can tell you that we are very, very satisfied with their plan, their operation plan. It will work. It will blend into the community. We will provide the services that it's proposed to do. And as a veterans organization, veterans advocate, we certainly feel that the need is there. 25 to 30% of the homeless males are veterans. That's an important element that we need to deal with. We feel that we have a national obligation for that. And I think, as was mentioned earlier, in a couple of years, we see San Antonio as a national model for this type of housing. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jed Magius. Right there. There you go. Thank you. I work at Mayor Phil Hartner's office. I'm also a board member of the Haven for Hope. And I'm here tonight to speak on the mayor's behalf. He was not able to be here because he and Councilwoman Galvan and the city manager are at his District 5 city budget hearing. The Haven for Hope is a high priority for the mayor. After the citizens of our city responded so valiantly to help the evacuees and Rita, it hit home with the mayor that we need to do something for our own citizens. We need to do just as well for them as we did for our neighbors. He decided to put the 10-year homeless plan on fast track, and he directed the city staff to try to get the Haven for Hope open by December of 2008. The mayor has also heard the concerns of the neighbors, and he is very sensitive to them. He pledges to you that the city will work with the Haven for Hope to make this campus the very best that it can be. And in addition, the security concerns of the neighborhood
both the immediate one and others out from the campus will be completely addressed. Once the campus is in place, the city will also enforce the criminal trespass and vagrancy laws. To do anything less would be unacceptable. Tonight, on behalf of the mayor, I ask for your support for this project and ask that you vote in favor of the zoning tonight. Thank you very much.
David Phipps. On deck is Ann Meyer.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, and Commissioners. I'm David Phipps. I'm the Executive Director of the San Antonio Christian Dental Clinic. And I rise today to support this zoning request. We have been in the business since 1986 of transforming lives. We're under the radar screen. Maybe not many people know about dental care or think about it, but we are an agency, a nonprofit agency that was set up from the church community, completely by volunteer dentists, and we continue to this day to provide care to the indigent and low-income residents of San Antonio and Bexar County. And we see this as an opportunity to expand our services and our reach to the community and capture more of the homeless than we presently do. As Mr. Marbot said, last year we provided 20,000 patient visits for dental care. That is completely, it's about 7,000 patients. That is done completely by volunteers. We only have 5 staff members, including myself. And every one of these people have been transformed by this care because they could not get it anywhere else. So we see this as an extension of our mission, and we see this as an opportunity to expand our mission. Less than 10% of our current patient load is homeless. They're referred by SAM Ministries or Lifetime Recovery or Alpha Home. We will take these patients that are in residential rehab. This is all done at no cost to the patient, except for maybe if they have dentures or whatever, then they have to pay supply fees. So this has been done on a strictly volunteer basis for 20 years. We have 8 operatories at 112 Auditorium Circle, which is downtown. We anticipate opening with 16 operatories in addition to those 8. This will be an opportunity for more volunteers to come. This will not be, we will not be hiring dentists to do this. We will not be hiring dental assistants. But this is a completely volunteer effort. So we're very pleased to be asked to provide this service, but we also see it as part of our mission in expanding our services to the community. We have many good stories, individuals I don't have time to tell you about the transformation of people. But people are able to come receive dental care. Their general health is improved. They are able to go and seek employment with improved self-esteem. They are able to become contributing members of the community after they've come to the San Antonio Christian Dental Clinic, and that we're very proud of. Thank you very much. We urge your support of this zoning request. Thank you.
Coming up, you know that dentists being paid till more or less around bears, diseases, and other Ann Meyer.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ann Myers, and I come before you tonight proudly as the board chair of SAM Ministries. Some things have been said tonight, and I'd like to take the time to clear them up. Some misnomers on behalf of SAM Ministries, but you want to get home, and we want to get home, so I'm not going to do that tonight. But we are proud of the service that we have provided for 25 years to this community. And I can tell you, SAM Ministries has helped thousands of people move from homelessness to self-sufficiency. We currently are located in a building on West Commerce that is rented to us by the city. It's 100 years old. It was not meant, as Mr. Marbot said, to be a homeless shelter, but we've made do with what we have. What we have not been able to do is truly use all of the services this city has to transform lives. We were looking for a couple of years before Haven for Hope was conceptualized about what we could do to make things better for the people of San Antonio. And then Haven for Hope came along. We are excited to be offered as one of the main contributors to the campus on Haven for Hope. We feel that Haven for Hope is going to allow, there's been a lot of discussion about the people that have been outside of SAM Ministries. Let me just say that we have no room inside our building for any more people. We are packed like sardines and trying to transform lives. It's hardly fair. It's all we have. We do the best with what we have. What Haven for Hope is going to allow is 22 acres of land to transform lives. SAM Ministries is not happy with the people that are outside our building, but there is nothing we can do, and there is nowhere that they can go right now. What Haven for Hope is going to do is give us the Prospects Courtyard for the people who don't want to come inside. And they're going to give amazing buildings for transformation with everyone on one campus. So where SAM Ministries, I think, has been a great service to this community for 25 years, we look forward to being a flagship enterprise at Haven for Hope to help in transformation in the future. Thank you. I hope you will vote for this.
Kimberly Kreider, and I'll back to Bill Watkins.
I'm Judge Kimberly Kreider. I preside over community court for the city of San Antonio. Today alone, my court saw over 40 chronically homeless individuals. We operate everything from food bank to clothes bank, personal hygiene. If a homeless person needs it, we have it. And the way that I get homeless people that come into my court is because they've been given a citation for quality of life things. And these quality of life citations are things that you and I take for granted. For instance, having a restroom to be able to use freely whenever you want. As a result, there's been a lot of issues about location. I see the need for the location every day. If someone is in crisis, I send them to the Center for Healthcare Services for mental services. If they need continued mental services, though, they have to go to Palo Alto, all the way over there for those services. We talked about MapQuest and the bus pass. My court can't have enough bus passes to help people complete the services that are ordered for them to complete. Also, when we talk about need, there is not enough beds for people to lay their head at night. When we talk about people that are staying outside at 910 West Commerce, that's not SAM. Those are people, half of them can't get in to any shelter. We have safe sleeping in the city. We don't have enough beds. Salvation Army's full every night. Every shelter, if you check, they're full. So as a result, we have people that have no place to go. So I have people that are sent for rehabilitation. When they come out, this is what's ironic. A person's homeless, they go to rehab as a Patricia Amendment. While they're at the Patricia Amendment, they're not considered homeless anymore. They're considered in treatment. They come out, they're clean, they're considered homeless again. But as a result, they can't get into low-income housing because they don't have enough episodes of homelessness, even though they've been 90 days in the treatment center. We need these services to be downtown, where half of them already exist, but we also need the beds for them to stay and not have the frustration of working this day in and day out. I also see that a lot of the employment, day labor, and types of employment that people are utilizing is not sufficient for them to live on. So as a result, Haven for Hope will provide these job training skills, which will let people get higher paying jobs. I'm also going to be involved with the public triage detox unit, and as a result, right now, the city of San Antonio sees anywhere from 600 to 800 publicly intoxicated individuals a month. All of those people will go to public triage detox unit. We will keep them over 8 hours now. We will assess and see why people are getting inebriated and have to come in contact with the police. That key component that Haven for Hope secured with the legislatures will fix the problem that we see every day in homelessness. I ask that you vote in favor of this.
One quick question for you, Judge. Where do you currently operate from?
Currently, I operate at 401 South Frio, but hopefully January 1, I'll be able to move to 601 North Frio.
Okay, thank you.
it's no longer afternoon, so it's good evening, Commissioners. I'm Phil Watkins, and I'm a volunteer with Horizontal Ministries, one of the organizations that's partnering with Haven for Hope. For the last 4 years, Horizontal Ministries, we call it CMI, has operated a day center through some funding that we received from the city at Travis Park Methodist Church. The day center provides meals, hygiene with laundry and showers, clothes closet, job placement, job training, anger management, training, drug and alcohol counseling, community court programs operated at the referral of Judge Brader, mental health counseling, GED training program, educational program, medical and vision clinics, food stamp assistance, ID recovery, housing and rental assistance, and legal assistance operated in conjunction with St. Cruz University Law School. We see an average of 170 homeless or persons living below the poverty line on a daily basis. Most of the people I encounter as a volunteer at CMI who are on the streets or in a shelter want to change their lives. None want to live at the mercy of the elements and the weather. None want to live with the danger that exists on our streets. The change that they may look for, it may be a release from addiction to drugs or alcohol. It may be a release from anger, from joblessness, or from mental illness. Many of the people that we see at CMI have a history of drug and alcohol abuse. These persons go, as Judge Crowder just so ably said, into short-term treatment programs to kick their addiction. When they're released, it is absolutely essential that they be moved into housing in order to further break the cycle of addiction. We have no way for them to do that at the present time. Haven for Hope will provide that housing component and the other services that are so valuable in helping people break the cycle of addiction. Without housing, there's little hope that that addiction cycle will be broken. I realize that some of the neighbors in the community are concerned about a variety of safety issues with the location. From having worked with, as a partner organization and on a lot of the SOP committees with people that are working in creating the procedures, I believe that Haven for Hope has been diligent in finding the best possible location, designing the campus in such a way to minimize the risk to the neighborhood, and at the same time providing the programs that will return persons who were formerly homeless to productive lives, while at the same time being a good neighbor in the community. It was only 10 years ago that these same safety concerns were raised in response to the San Transitional Living Center on Blanco Road. You look at that facility now, persons whose lives have been changed and transformed. You look at that neighborhood now.
Mr. Watkins, your time has expired. You can wrap it up.
Vote for improving San Antonio and all of its citizens, most especially those who are homeless and helpless.
Thank you.
David Coleman and Spencer Johnson.
David Coleman, I'm the director of the GI4 Residential Center in Martin Medina. This is for 2 years. I would ask all of you who haven't been there to come visit us. We're quite proud of it. We also think it's a pretty good idea of what the Haven Hope will look like on a much larger scale. We're very structured. People are there. 90% of them are there to gain employment. We are self-sufficient. We do not make homelessness comfortable. They can stay there for up to 2 years. It is not a shelter. It is a residential facility. Things that I like about this, I've been in the behavioral health field for 40 years. The thing that I like about this is 2 things. The location, contrary to popular belief, is a good one. This is where the homeless live. You're not going to have to relocate them. And transportation is a major issue with the homeless. The other thing that I've been trying for 40 years to get one stop shopping. It hasn't worked in most places. It doesn't work because the thing that makes it unique here in San Antonio is that you've got the public sector and the private sector working together. If you get the funding sources together, you're going to almost guarantee success. And that's what we have here. Again, I urge your support of this change in the zoning. Thank you very much.
Well, tonight, my name is Walter Collins. I'm a resident of American Geography. And I was asked to speak here tonight, and I told my case manager that I'll be more than happy to do so. Homelessness will get you from any angle. Like, I come here to San Antonio, not knowing when I would return back home, not knowing where I was actually going. Katrina City. And since here, I've been struggling to obtain my self-sufficiency. I've had a multitude of different problems that I come here with, and had it not been for the American GI program, I would still be struggling with it. Then we let it down. They gave me rental assistance. Then stopped paying it, didn't do anything about it, and then the late fees accumulated on me, and I got evicted. I went to the American GI program, and they helped me. And today, I have employment. Today, I'm back in church, with a good relationship with our Father. Today, I'm developing relationships with other aspects of the community. Today, my wallet's still happy. I have a relationship with the bank, today I have emotional contentment, personal contentment. I'm secure with who I am. I'm happy. I still don't have a place. I'm a resident in the American GI program. But I'm confident, that I keep going down the road that I'm going. I'll have my own home in about a year or so. So I just want to thank God that I have to command here in the city of San Antonio, just like New Orleans, one of the most unique cities on the face of the earth. I'm not going back to New Orleans. San Antonio's my home. I have a Texas driver's license, and I'm a Texan now. Amen.
Walter Collins. Okay. Next would be Bill Day.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you very much. My name is Bill Day. I'm on the Board of Directors of Corzo Ministries. I also have a little bit of background with Youth for Hope as an employee of Valero Energy. I was involved in some of the research and development of Human for Hope in its early stages. And I want to come in support of this package and Human for Hope. I wanted to thank you all for hearing our comments. I know it's late and it's been a long day for you. I can say for certain that a lot of energy and knowledge went into this proposal. It was not done lightly. A lot of thought went into this, and as you've heard earlier, a lot of best practices were looked at. At Corzo Ministries, where I'm on the board, we are a partner in Human for Hope. We will be running the transformation quarter, the Prospects quarter. And I wanted to say that we as a board and as an organization are very excited to be part of Human for Hope. We're very glad that this is going to be coming to our city. We hope you'll give it every consideration. And I would like to, I'll be brief because I know we can get going, but when I worked for Mr. Greedy, one of the things I told him when I was working on this project was I was looking forward to the day that I could go volunteer at Haven for Hope and look around the facility and say that I was proud to be part of it. And by this vote tonight, you will also be proud of what you've done for our city. Thank you very much.
Martin Ellsner. Thomas Lopez.
My name is Martin Ellsner. I'm pastor of Our Lady Public Church. Been there for 19 years. I'm very much in favor of the Haven for Hope. About 15 years ago, one of the many West Side activists, last name was Torres, not this high, always had a napping hat on, he approached me, and I never liked him to approach me because I knew I'd have to do something. And he said, "Father, we have a Narcotics Anonymous group, and we have to move out of such and such a place. Do you have any room that we can meet?" mine for a while. Couldn't find a way out. Yeah, this Tuesday and Thursday night. Okay, Mr. Torres, let's give it a call. They try, see what the call is. Narcotics Anonymous, event at Guadalupe Big Church, classroom number 8, every Tuesday night, Thursday night. Some kids from the neighborhood are usually playing basketball right in front of where they're meeting. Nothing negative has ever happened. It's almost boring. New Year's comes around, once in a while they say, Father, could we use the parish hall? The parish hall was built in 1911. They said, well, the reason we like to use the parish hall for New Year's party, if we go to regular parties, they're going to have drugs and alcohol, and that's death for us. So they'd have the party at our hall. I'm in favor of the Haven for Hope because it's going to give class to our city. I'm in favor of the Haven for Hope because Mr. Torres helped show me that when you work out and work with the people who are on drugs and want to get off of drugs, you can have a party.
Lopez, then Wanda House. At least you gentlemen know what school board meetings are all like, because this is the way we have to face our community. Long meetings, hot issues. Definitely, I was one of the first ones to bring up the concern about the timeliness of the issues about what's happening in the community involvement. But after having had the opportunity to speak to the different folks, to be able to understand the process, and as I mentioned to Father Martin, and I'm glad he's here this evening, I said, Father, help me to understand this vision. Help me to understand this vision of what it's going to do. And I guess Father, in his mysterious way, has had a good little prayer, because we did understand the vision. Now there's come to light the positive things that are going to be done, the positive things that happen in our community, and the impact that it's going to have in and around our neighborhood schools, and we think it's going to be positive. And I hope that you add the San Antonio School District as one of your partners in ensuring this project become a success for San Antonio. Thank you all very much for your time and your efforts. God bless each of you.
Wanda House and Ruby Phillips. Ruby.
My name is Wanda House, and I am for the Haven for Hope. And tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from, if I would have, I can understand having concerns about a place like Haven for Hope coming into your community, in your neighborhood. But I'm so grateful that so many of them were denied concerning me, because myself, I came through a place that helped save my life. And I remember the bickerings about the zoning, and people that in the neighborhood didn't want it. I'm talking about transitional housing, any place that's there to help people like us. And I remember the bickering, and nobody ever wants in right today. We go through the same thing. I work for Corazon Ministries, and I'm a licensed chemical dependency counselor. And I work with homeless and have been for quite some time now. And that is our greatest, the biggest missing link for us is once they go into treatment and they come out, there's no place for them to go. There's no transitional living for them. Nobody wants them. And, it's real easy to talk about addicts. I was hearing they didn't want a bunch of drug addicts in the neighborhood, in the schools, around the schools. And I have found that all the police calls that are called into the SAM shelter or any other place that the homeless frequent, usually it's called by them. They try to police their own areas. I've seen it happen over and over again. They don't like the violence. They don't like the drugs. When we used to have a sleeping area in front of Corazon Ministries, they police themselves. They're the ones that wouldn't let you come on the property drinking beer and doing drugs, and they let us know in the morning. I was hearing about the different schools. I'm hoping to soon get a grant to be taking people into the schools to talk about drugs and alcohol, not for the schools to push us out. I'm hoping that Bowie School will eventually invite us over after we're in Haven for Hope for about 3 years. If I was a gambling woman, that was, you know, that they will be asking us to come over and help them. Right now, we're spending anywhere, and this is serious right here, with Corazon Ministries alone, between myself and the employment specialist, we spend over $1,000 a month on bus tickets. Some of the bus tickets are monthly bus passes that we give to people as an incentive for the good work that they've done, like getting a job, and they've held the job for 90 days or whatever. And so we give them that kind of incentive. By moving it somewhere else, it would be very difficult for them to, you know, get back and forth. They're not going to detach themselves easily from the downtown area. I have learned from observation. I myself, coming from a checkered past, my calling is I work with a lot of course addicts, and I work with prostitution. And just to watch, just the other day we had a young lady come in there who, when I first met her, had on mini skirts, stiletto heels. She'd been working the streets for many, many years, had her 17-year-old daughter. I don't know if she was working the streets, but she had her dressing the same way. And after a few sessions and a few groups, I mean, she has completely gotten out of those clothes, has gotten employment. That's the kind of work that we do. You know, those are the kind of people that you're going to be seeing in your neighborhood, people who are doing things with their lives, such as I have done with mine, and thank God that somebody cared enough and had enough compassion to let me make it instead of condemning and judging me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I am for the Haven for Hope, and I hope you are too.
Thank you.
I skipped Mr. Ron Don R. Runyas, R-U-N-S, Runnels. I'm sorry.
Good evening, gentlemen of the board. My name is John Reynolds. You might call me on homeless too. I got a PhD in health. I got a BA being outdoors. I've been on the streets 5 years. But the difference is that there are many like me. I'm educated. I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol because I believe in education. I believe that knowledge I uphold those. I applaud the Haven for Hope because it is a chance for America, because there are many like us. People who want to make something of themselves, people who police themselves, people who care about themselves, those who have dignity of themselves, those who have buried enough knowledge about themselves. This is a chance for America to get those lost talent, because there's many doctors, many lawyers, many priests, many future leaders, many future administrators out there who simply need a chance. This is a chance for America to reclaim those investments, because this is a chance for America to invest. This is a wise business decision, because we don't, in a sense, we're reclaiming our home. We're spending much time outside, we're spending much effort, we're spending much money outside our borders. But this is the time right now to reclaim our home, to invest in our home, to strengthen our home, to strengthen our community, to bring back home, and also to make San Antonio an American city. Not just a regional city, but something that can be a showcase for the rest of the nation. Something that can bring us not just much for the Spurs, but something that we can do for our people. Second, we care for our animals. San Antonio has a woeful record for its animal management. This is a novel approach that teaches that Americans, that animals and pets are just as much human and just as much part of us, because they're part of our hearts. This is positive management. I applaud Haven for Hope. I will vote because I carry voters registration card. I exercise evidence. I will vote for this. Thank you very much.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Rudy Phillips. I'm Rudy Phillips. I am the intern specialist for the Cornerstone Ministry. I am also a licensed and ordained minister, former pastor. But more than all of that, I was once homeless. I've been an ex-drug abuser. I've been an ex-everything. But I'd like to remind us that all of us have been ex-something. All of us have made mistakes in our lives. All of us have fallen upon hard times. Were it not for a place like this, I often wonder where would I be now.
or what would I be? This place gave me an opportunity to help me, it helped me help myself. We talk about the drugs and the crimes that I committed. Well, places like this took me out of your backyard stealing your lawn. Places like this stopped me from walking in neighborhoods doing drugs. Places like this changed me to become the man that I am now. And so I stand here boldly saying that I know this helped because it helped me. We are all something, as I said. None of us are perfect. Sure, some of these people have committed crimes, some drugs, and as far as the crime is concerned, the only difference between them and maybe some of us is we got caught and they did. We are all something. And so I know this place, it gave me a chance. But most importantly, it gave me hope for my future. I am somebody. And these people that are homeless, we talk about them like they're not human. They, us, against them it seems. But these are people just like us, sir. They're people just like us. Let a job layoff hit your company and you miss 3 or 4 checks. You may need the haven for hope. Let a Hurricane Rita, Katrina hit us. You may need haven for hope. This is an opportunity for us to clear our streets, to stop riding down our downtown areas and see homelessness. These people are freezing in wintertime. They're burning up in the summertime. Why? Isn't that what it's all about? People helping people. All of us in here, even those who are opposing, know someone who's been in trouble with drugs or alcohol or homelessness. What if it was your family member? What if it was someone that you cared? What if it was your child? Wouldn't you want it for your child? So why not give that opportunity to those who need it just as bad as your child, your people in your position? This is an opportunity for us to show the city, show the nation, and show the world that we are going to do something about our homelessness. Thank you. I am in thanks.
Thank
Okay, Pete, it starts with a K. I can't quite make that. He's coming.
My name is Pete Kors. I am the president of Cornwall District. And a lot of folks talk about what we all do. We're extremely excited about that. Personally, whenever I encounter something that's unique, something that is cutting edge, something that will put me in a position to try something that nobody's ever done, which is really what we're all here about tonight. Nothing gets my juices flowing like that, so I want to address that issue. The other thing I want to address is when I moved into San Antonio 4 years ago, we were looking for a church home, and we came across Travis Park, United Methodist Church, Navarro in Travis. And it's not the kind of church that I would normally go to. It's an urban church, and I'm more or less a suburban person. But I was drawn in by the people that I met there and the mission that they were working on through Cornerstone Ministries. And through my volunteering there, I had personally been changed and transformed by the people that have worked there and by the people that we serve. And I think it's an extraordinary opportunity to do this on a grand scale that all of us have. So that's if you vote in favor of please.
It's not being here presented, is they need a place of prayer. And I would like to make a suggestion for this to be added to the Haven of Hope in their next presentation, and for the newsletters to be sent out to all. We get a notification when it's time for voting, when it's time for code compliance, you're not complying for rules and regulations as needed. So for the newsletters to be sent out to all homeowners, along with, they talked about the kennels. I would like to also make a suggestion for the SAPD to also get their K-9 units employed with Haven at Hope. Thank you.
Eric Cooper? No, Eric Cooper? Mr. Chairman, that concludes all that I have signed up for favor. I do have one neutral, and the rest are against.
Let's hear the neutral and we'll take a 10-minute break. Mr. Hodge. Give us some comic relief. I'm serious.
Well, I told y'all earlier to loosen up, so that's good enough. Now, I go downtown 6 days a week. When I say there's a lot of homeless, when I say that you can't go to the family shelter because people might get raped or beat up, I have seen this. The policemen, they go down there about 10 or 15 times a day. They need to put their police station right there on Commerce. You cannot walk down Commerce. Now, the lady said earlier, it's not their fault that there's too many people. If a young lady that's 18 years old, afraid to go to the sound shelter, and security won't let her in 10 minutes to 9, something's wrong. You got men urinating all on the sidewalk, laying on the sidewalk. You can't even walk down the sidewalk to go to the sound shelter, something's wrong. When the police department won't clean up that area, they're afraid to go down there, something's wrong. And if the police department don't clean that mess up, who will? I would like for you guys to go in the daytime around about 4 o'clock in the evening and try to walk down Commerce. Now, we have a lot of homeless people all over San Antonio. They don't have nowhere to go. The policemen run them out of Travis Park every night. When they have a big convention, the police department run them all to the downtown area. And it's a shame and disgrace. Now, we need the sound shelter. We need this homeless, whatever y'all want to call it. But if there's no more security now than then, so what? I'm downtown every night. I see the homeless sleeping in the doorways. I see them over there by the Greyhound bus station early in the morning. There's nowhere to go. And the police department, they run them off every morning, every night. And if your police department don't clean that mess up downtown, and they build a homeless shelter today, where do you think all those people are going to go? And Judge Wolf and them, they want to clean out Bear County Jail right now and put them in the new homeless Haven for Hope. Judge Wolf wants to give $5 million for this project. And I'm not against helping people, but the way y'all doing it, the process when Patty Rader was in office, and this new lady that's in office haven't did anything, and they passing all these different rules and regulations, something's wrong. The staff didn't do it right from the beginning. They didn't apologize, Mr. Westheim, they didn't apologize. You had to pull it out of them, and they still didn't apologize. And we do have to help the homeless. I know a lot of people that's on drugs and alcohol. I have family members that's in that predicament. So I mean, y'all preaching to the choir. We all agree that we need help, but the process, the way the mayor and Patty Rader and this new city city councilman, you know, she won't speak out on no issues. She's in the background. So I mean, when y'all say that we're against it, no, we're not against. We're against the process. The process was not did right from day one. So I'm gonna tell my you know what these people in the sound shelter? Yeah, we know it's packed. We know it's full. We see the people walking up and down the street every night. And then sometimes, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna sit down. They called the police, just 1 minute, they called the police on this man. He had one leg cut off. And he had a sign that noshed him off that he needs some food. So anyway, make a long story short, here come the police. Pull up. And he said, they called me because you got a sign that you want some food? And he said, yeah. He reached in his pocket, gave the guy $10. He said, that's why the policemen can't do their job, because the city council passed these stupid laws, putting people in jail that don't need to be in jail. And we should be fighting crime. We can't fight crime from putting the homeless in jail. So something's wrong with our city council and this mayor we got in office right today. Thank
What is passed next?
even told the mayor last Thursday that there are reasons and so on going biblically. Now, I did mention before, board members, that Jesus intentionally stumbled some followers that were following him. And he knows that about the reason he spoke symbolically that you were to bring my flesh. But now at that time they thought that he's offended or something most likely. And so they stumbled and they took off. And he just wanted to know who was the real person that was those who followed him. They were not attached to just well, we learned by that. Now, some, I even confront a so-called minister. I told him, hey, how come you made us seem like a bad person, you know? And I'm like, I'm not that stupid person. And I said, that's why you should adopt a member as he said. And he said, no, I meant it. I said, no, you sounded very serious about being a person down, and I told him, I'm not that kind of person. That's suicidal beats, but it's good. But he was already free. Now, I do want to state that this is not introduction. And time will tell, and I tell you, we all are going to be judged, especially with something. And I can see that, and you're going to be who know each other. You know, there's going to be connection with such a thing. Taxpayers that are paying tax money they want are going to be affected. And we usually not caring them. There's land around us that can be used for that so-called haven for holy trouble. Now, St. Michael Hospital worked over there, and they had a fireman, security, they had police, they had security by the wards, and they had looked up to place to cut hair, to take some patients. Eventually, we started going down, we started finding medication and so on, we started getting real. So this is a problem on the state that has given us this problem. Throughout the cities too, San Antonio is taking the lead here in Texas, they're merging and coming to us over here. This must be causing problems. And the war, and you know when you come. I'm just saying it, there's a child once in the state. I'll say it to a married, and he knows it. And I told him that the time was coming, and it is in this time.
Still don't have a burial. Abel Ruiz. Next would be
Good evening. My name is Abel Ruiz, and I'm here, first of all. First thing I want to straight is we're not against our procedure. We're not against the procedure to do what I'm against. Now, Mr. Martinez, I don't know if you've seen Ocean 11. They did a crime, you write perfectly, right? Perfect, but it's still a crime. Same thing here. They didn't follow the procedures. It may be a great program. They might have done something real great, perfect. But because of that mistake, that's found there. But it's not perfect. Let's get that straight. It's not perfect because they didn't follow the procedure. Second, talking about property value. I did some research today, and I don't know where they're getting the facts. This is a research from Phoenix, Arizona. The one that's supposedly running great, the one that's supposedly state of the art, perfectly, the whole work. I'm going to read you something here real quick. Crime. Throughout the years, the CMD has had many problems that involve crimes in its jurisdiction. The CMD is located in Council District 8, the city of Phoenix, which is where the shelter is at. This district is currently run by Vice Mayor Michael Johnson, who has taken on the burden of human and homeless services for the city of Phoenix. Consequently, the CMD residency consists mostly of low-income residents and the homeless. This has caused the area to become undesirable, like that one, causing property values to drop. Many of the homeowners in the area do not reside in these homes. Most of the homes are rentals or vacant. Now, I may not own a house like Mr. Reagan here, but my $30,000 home, to me, is my mansion. That's my mansion. It cost me 2-3 jobs to be able to make those payments. FBI crime report from Phoenix. The 6 major categories of crime are murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, auto theft. Phoenix was found to be the 10th most dangerous city in the United States. Wow. As started earlier, the CMD consists mostly of low-income residents and the homeless. There are 3 categories of homeless people. The 3 homeless people. The economically homeless, the disabled homeless, and the chronically homeless. Because of this, Council District 8 has a high numbers for all categories of crime. As shown in the Phoenix Police Department statistics below, the CMD District 8 has 3rd highest total number of crimes committed of any district in the city of Phoenix. District 8 also has more calls for service than any other district in the city. Police Department statistics is also evident that Council District 8 has a high amount of gang activity. Now, like I said, my house, when I be high price, $100,000 value, $200,000 value, $500,000. But to me,
So your time has expired? Is there someone willing to see time?
my wife, probably. Yonder?
Continue.
Okay. Now, like I said, my house, $30,000 value house, to me, is my mansion. It's a place my kids grew up. Now, when I was in El Paso, I didn't have a great life. We slept on the car. When I make ends meet one way or another, I didn't go asking for help. I've never done any drugs. I've never done any alcohol. I've never done anything. And like the gentleman said, some did crime but never got caught. Well, he's wrong, because I've never done any crime. Never. So I don't have a reason to go out hiding. People to make sure they don't see me do whatever they think that I'm doing. My record is clean as a whistle. My kids' records are clean as a whistle. Because I brought them up and I told them, they gotta have moral values. Apparently, these people that make this thing put together don't have that. Where's our voices? April 19, they passed the ordinances. April 26, the first public meeting. I mean, what's so hard to catch about that? That's so easy, so simple. It's not, rocket science. But according to Mr. Martinez, it's perfect. Now, House Bill 2524. Today was the first day that we ever heard about that bill. Because not even Louis Galvan, not even Mary Alice Nettles, not even the Mayor Hartberger, nobody has brought that up unless me, myself, I brought it up to the community, I brought it up to some of my friends, and I said, you know what, they just passed House Bill 2524. Now they're saying that it's not having a hope. It's for the detox center. Well, I got some papers here that I want to show you. And by the way, Mr. Hartberger said, gentleman here that want to represent the mayor, said that it was not an emergent County Jail program. He said that on the radio, KTSA, on Wednesday of last week at 8:40 in the morning. But on the house emergent, basically the Delaware, that's Robert Marmine. Said Health for Hope Executive Director Robert Marmine Jr. Basically, it's a jail diversion program. Now, if it's not for Heaven and Hope, Senator Randy Hughes attend bill signing of Heaven for Hope. But it's not Heaven for Hope, right? I guess they misspelled that. Another thing. Our term is coming up, and well, here's the bill. Jail Emergency Program.
Is there someone else who's willing to see time?
Veronica Gonzalez.
Ma'am, you signed up not to speak. Is there someone else willing to see time?
Romina Sanchez.
Thank you. Continue.
Okay, now, my daughter lives in San Diego. She's going to school 4 days out of the week. She's got a real estate license, plus she's working at Sprint. I called her one day and I said, can you go and get me some pictures from the homeless shelter? She said, Dad, it's too dangerous to go down there. Now they're talking, and like I said before, it's the same car, it's just a different salesman. Same sales pitch. When they go to San Diego, you go and you take pictures of the building. Oh, it's nice, it's beautiful, crystal clean, the whole work, state of the art. What about outside the building? It's like Mr. Thomas said, don't look at the neighborhood. Look at the industrial thing, we're gonna build this, not the neighborhood. We don't count, apparently, because they took procedures of no matter. So, my daughter went out there with her husband, took some pictures, on a phone camera. And, y'all can pass it around if y'all want. She said that the building's nice, it's clean, but what they're not showing you is what's on the outside. Now, same thing's gonna happen here. You say they got a 1,000 feet buffer zone. Well, maybe within 1,000 feet it's gonna be clean. But so happens that I'm at 1,010. So I guess everybody's gonna be in my house, in my front yard, doing whatever they gotta do. So, we're not gonna see the campus bad, let's say clean, we'll do this, but 1,000 feet, my community, and this is my community, this is not, I don't live on the north side, this is my community, it's gonna be torn to pieces. All I'm asking is, you have to take this into consideration because, if you can see aerial view, all this is community residential. But then, I guess we don't count on 40 feet square. We don't count. I have to say thank you.
Mr. Ruiz.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure what part of my testimony that you heard, but I think I made it fairly clear that this process was far from perfect. The fact that there are homes like yours, the mansion that you described, are affected, good, bad, or indifferent, for or against, this process will never be perfect. That is what I said.
You said it was
I think I made that pretty clear that the process has not been perfect. I haven't been on this commission for 6.5 years, chairman for 3.5, by not listening to the opposition. I was the youngest zoning commissioner ever in the city of San Antonio, and I've made myself who I am by listening to the people. I just want to make sure that that's clear with the opposition, that I agreed with my colleague who brought that out. It is far from perfect. It should have been handled and addressed a long time ago.
That's it. That's right. That should have been handled a long time ago. City charter.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Next,
Mr. H. Bela. And after that would be Mr. S. Homestead.
My name is Daniel Bela. I live at 1425 Avenue. Here. Louder. You want me to scream? I can scream. I don't need a mic. Okay. I've heard all the concern on both sides, and I agree, and that there was a neighborhood concern on the Haven for Hope. This is a good thing, so I ask to reconsider the location. The location is the very main thing at this point. Okay? As a voter, my voice, like others, are not taking consideration. Remember one thing, it is not the city that makes the community. That's right. It's the people that make the community. Your vote at this point, you have the right to ask, is this the thing to do? Most of the time, what do you all say? We don't close doors to voters. And apparently they have been closed because we have not been listened to at many times. Right now you are listening. Okay, and we've listened to the people that are for this, and they don't listen to what we have to say when we're against it. They leave. So we're not really hurt, by these people that are saying they're doing everything. I would like to know what any changes are made. Let the people know. Let's work together. We can do this. It's like what gentleman said. I am homeless. I put 65% of my time out on the streets, but I'm not homeless because I choose not to. I go out and work. Whether homeless people can work, they just don't want to. We don't need an area, to infect the area. I mean, what are y'all doing? You're gonna poison the area out here, and you all know it and don't want to actually agree with it. So I would consider you all, take consideration on what you all are deciding, what the people that are against it, actually have to say, because we do, have the right to talk and have the people listen, and we need to understand, we're never told about things that are being done. Everything is done behind closed doors. Everything. And we find out at the very last moment, of the issues that are going on. We hear this from a lot of the city council. We hear it from you guys. We hear it from other areas. Things are not, if they're done publicly.
Mr. Miller, your time has expired.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Rosella, do you want to get somebody to volunteer their time early?
Yes, some him.
Yeah.
Jack, you gonna give me your time? Anybody else want to give me some time?
Mario Sanchez.
That's 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Now it's the forethought. I want you to think about that word. I thought I was here in front of the zoning commission. I thought that citizens have an opportunity to voice their opinion. Now it's the forethought. Knowing the crime is going to happen, yet you go ahead and do it. This commission has done that. Passing the other amendment, you committed the crime. Because if that amendment passed, now you can go forth and rezone this property. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I'll tell you what. This whole process has been tainted since day one. Day one. On February 27, 2006, the first meeting of the Haven for Hope was held at City Hall. Do we have the proof of that? Yes, we do. I'm presenting this to you because within the next probably 6 weeks, you'll be getting a call from somebody else. Not me. Here's the document. Here's the meeting. Okay? And in this meeting, I'm going to see how many residents were there. Not one. Not one neighborhood association. You'll be seeing this document pretty soon. Well, in like 6 weeks to maybe 12 months, somewhere. Right now, how many people are really against the, I'm not going to say even for hope, the location? Would you please stand up? The neighborhood that is against the location. You see those people? Not one of those people were invited to these meetings. Not one. We don't want an apology. That's bullshit. It is.
Please refrain and keep your language clean.
Okay. We don't want an apology. We want the process correctly done. Mr. Martinez, you talked about the process. You asked the questions, good questions. But we don't want an apology from nobody. We don't want an apology from y'all. We don't want an apology from Mr. Kampa or anybody else in the city. We want the process to be done correctly. That's all we want. That's the neighborhood. These are the residents. Now, I'm gonna really go beyond this. I saw all the people that were for the Haven for Hope. I saw them all. They were right here. There was about 20 people. Not one of those people lived in that neighborhood. Not one. And the worst part about it, you're paid staff. Paid staff to be here talking to y'all about the Haven for Hope.
That's right. That's sick.
Come on, folks. This isn't Russia. This isn't Nazi Germany. This is America. We have laws. Have you guys ever read the laws that we have? Apparently not. This city government has circumvented the Unified Development Code, Division 3. The whole process has been tainted. They'll ask good, well, you've asked good questions. I like the question. But again, they've been violated. You know, when you go to court, you have to, and this happened to me just recently. I went to federal court, and I kept asking the judge to recuse himself because she was going to actually make judgment on the issue that we were doing, which she did. We lost in San Antonio, but you know what? We went to the Fifth Circuit. We won in the Fifth Circuit. We're still taking the city to court, and we'll win the Supreme Court. But we're not going to wait that long for you guys. We're going to do something different. And your vote tonight will be what we're going to do.
I don't appreciate the threats, and I would appreciate your comments being limited to the subject of the zoning issue at hand, please, okay? Or I will ask you to be escorted out.
Okay. The zoning issue that we talked about has violated their First Amendment right, freedom of speech. The Fifth Amendment, which is public use, and the 14th Amendment, which is equal protection. This is also the Constitution of the City of San Antonio. And the city charter, which is our constitution, okay, gives us a right to a safe society. Putting 2,235 individuals that can hurt this community is not putting them in a safety zone. You're destroying one community to be placed where this agency, this shelter can be put where it does not affect the community, where the residents or the homeless will not be in danger of a railroad, will not be in danger of every hour on the hour a railroad going through there. There is an opportunity for that, but this body is not listening. And I know you're not. It's okay. I mean, it's beyond me that you're not listening. And you can attack whatever I say afterwards. But again, the Haven for Hope will not, what happens when they are not allowed there? You're going to destroy this neighborhood that's been there for 200 years. 200 years. You're destroying a whole neighborhood. Why? Because a gentleman, I wish he would have been here, could have sunk those $20 million, $30 million in a truly shelter for the homeless. But that's not going to happen because I know probably how you're going to vote. And we will fight you at City Hall in 2 days, which again, it's not part of the process again. You know, it was interesting that one of the groups went neutral. And, you know, Jesus Christ was sold to the Romans for 30 pieces of silver. Sad. Today's a sad day. I'm gonna quote a famous person that I look up to. He said, first you ignore us, which you have. Then you laugh at us, which you have. Then you fight us by passing these ordinances and passing these laws. And then we, and the community will vote.
Actually, I want to thank the opportunity to address you in such an important matter to the community. My name is Jesse Montreal. I'm very concerned of the impact the proposed project is going to have on the neighborhood and schools. I am appalled at how the public was informed and the opportunities it had previously, especially in Badan Library and the Mexican American Unity Council. The meeting was so stacked and so structured that the majority of the proponents had the liberty to speak, and then when the time came for the opposition, they were mistreated and not heard. The councilwoman, I spoke with the councilwoman and asked her, the reason why I'm still here is because I wanted to direct my comments to you. Why weren't you in the previous meetings that the community had for addressing these problems? And she simply said, I was not invited. I feel, right now, I feel guilty at this meeting right now that you're lending us a ear. I feel that you're lending us a ear. When all along I felt that I have been lended a deaf ear. And I thank you. I thank you for still being with us, because most of the proponents have said what their piece and then left, that the way they did it in Mexican American Unity Council, that's how they treated us. They treated us with abuse. We felt mistreated. Now, right now, I would like to say that the proponents have addressed to you, Commission, presented to you idealistic scenarios, but in truth they're not. Realistically, they won't work. They won't work. Yes, ideally they do. They look pretty, like the ones that have spoken before me and addressed against the construction of this project, have voiced their opposition and said, yes, it looks good, but in truth, it doesn't work, simply because it's too big. It's too huge. I feel personally that this campus, as it's called, is a misnomer, because actually, it's not a haven for hope. It's a haven for criminals. That's what it is. It's a misnomer to say it's a haven for hope. It doesn't because it's too huge. If it really is wealthy, if it really provides wealth to the area, well, let's share the wealth. Let's share it into other neighborhoods. They are willing to absorb all this wealth that they make us believe that we have. Why not? I wanted to address some of the issues and state that the issue before you...
Mr. Moderator, your time has expired. Go ahead, sir.
I would like to address you, Commission, that the real issue today isn't a determination of whether this homeless shelter is, whether we're for or against. The proponents of the shelter are portraying us as villains, when in truth our only line of defense lies in the preservation of the existing land use. What's wrong with the land use? Leave it as it is. If something's broken, then fix it. No one's complained of the residents there in the area. You don't see me complaining. I want it changed to something else. Leave it as is. Also, as Ruben mentioned previously, our democratic form of government has its checks and balances. You are the check to the city council. Actually, you are. You're supposed to keep it in line. They're proposing something that's going to be disastrous to the area, the neighborhood, our schools. It's going to break the structure, and it's only a start. Yet the UDC amendment is going to open the door for further, greater gobbling of the neighborhood and area adjoining the shelter, adjoining the campus. It shouldn't be a campus. It's an extension of a jail. Really, that's what it is, because actually it's going to be housing criminals there. The mayor's stand on the issue, on this issue, actually requires more time for study and analysis. It's alarming the way he has addressed this. His hasty work habits clearly indicate a lame duck philosophy. He wants to get done what would take maybe 4 or 5 or 6 mayors down the line. I guess he wants credit for this. I guess he wants to be thinking of that the way, in his words, a slam dunk on the community. That's real bad, because that's playing with our lives. We shouldn't allow someone to be playing with our lives like that. This clearly spells disaster. Also, the proponents have labeled our neighborhood as undesirable. There's no better time now to build better schools. Right now is the time. They say that the amendment to the UDC is going to include schools. We already have schools. Why destroy them? Why not preserve them? Why not make them better? This is what we're asking. Keep the land use, better the schools, remodel the schools, make better schools. The rallying point shouldn't be to this end and real transformation. Build a new Bowie Elementary, as we have as a Moore Hill Elementary model, the new Moore Hill.
So your time is expired again.
Rebecca Ruiz.
I need her to stand up, please.
Rebecca Ruiz.
All right, thank you.
Continue.
Let's not kid ourselves. Jails don't rehabilitate. Actually, this shelter, the campus is called, it's not really a campus. It's an extension of the jail. They don't rehabilitate. Schools educate. They should educate. So can be thrown out the window. We don't need to be in a problem to be able to solve that problem. Avoid the problem. Work at the root. The cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is that we're not concentrating our efforts where they should be concentrated. Not on the people that have the problems with alcohol and child abuse. Not in those areas. Bringing up the children in our schools. Making sure they have the environment to have a healthy learning process there. With a sudden influx of students from the inner city to the north side and northeast school districts, causing an overcrowding, should we all pick up and move to these districts? We know that the north side has overcrowding issues. Why? Because they're abandoning the inner city. Do we want to see a further influx into those schools and cause bottlenecks in those schools? No, we don't. We want to keep our schools. And if you bus those children to those schools, you're gonna put those parents in hardship. You're gonna cause a hardship to the parents, because who would want to every day, instead of crossing the street and walking their child to the school, the elementary, they're gonna have to bus them 5 or 6, 10, 12 miles away. No one's going to want to do that. So I recommend, I would want to see, let's instead provide construction that follows along the existing land use guidelines. Why mess with the land use? Keep it as it is. Why change it? Why modify it? Why provide an umbrella for this type of abuse that this shelter is going to have? Because that's what it's going to have. Abuse of the neighborhood, abuse of the children, and also abuse of the parents of those children. We don't want to see this. What can we have? We can complement our schools with remodeling the existing housing along with new housing and their needs. No one should be above the law. No one should be above the law. Really, no one should be above the law. It seems that the law right now, what they're presenting to us, either admit it, either accept it rather, or you won't have anything. Accept this, they're treating me like a kid. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need. Yes, I do. I know what I need. I know what my children, my grandchildren need. Yes, I do. And as Ruben also mentioned, this is America. We haven't been represented really at the public meetings. We haven't.
Your time has expired. Continue, please, sir.
Our hope for the future lies in our children. You're destroying our children. When you destroy why destroy? Why tear down Bowie? Why do it? There's no need to destroy Bowie. Our hope for the future lies in our children. They will secure our future and existence. Please don't stand idle and witness this to happen. Please don't. Put a stop to it. We ask the zoning commission to acknowledge the great injustice of the request for rezoning. Send it back to the zoning board. I heard that they want a continuance of 60 days. Provide that. Don't be so quick and hasty in saying, let's go on with a rezoning. No, please don't. Please don't. That's not what the community wants. That's an injustice to us. Please redefine the meaning of the word no. No to rezoning today, no to rezoning tomorrow, and no to rezoning forever when it destroys our neighborhood and our children. Please don't do it. Thank you.
Next is Maya or Moya. Next is Carla Avila.
I would do the same thing.
Next is Dora Pettis.
My name is Dora Perez. First of all, the preamble starts, "We the people," not I. Meaning everyone can have an equal status. On behalf of my family and all the neighbors that are here voluntarily, trying to, to help not to have, they're not against having a pope, but it's just a location. We just don't want it in our neighborhood. They were saying that Miss Hinojosa had gone over to San Diego and taken some pictures. I don't know if she's got the pictures, but I also went down to San Diego and took some pictures of myself, of my own, and I have them right here, but I don't know if you would like to see them because I know you've seen them already. But they don't look nothing like the pictures that they were taking over there. I don't know what time they went. I went after hours, and what I saw was just, a lot of people hanging around there, sleeping. There were probably even some dealing going on because I would see some cars drive up and some people get close to the cars and, stuff like that. And we just don't want none of that in our neighborhood. And like we said, we're not against it. It's good. It's good for the Heaven of Hope to be built. And just like they said that they have already gotten so much money, well, then why is the location a matter? I mean, they could just go and build it someplace else. Some of those people, most of them, they don't even live here. We live in this neighborhood. And we just don't, we don't want it in our neighborhood. Maybe if you could please consider someplace else that they can rebuild it. If they already got the money, they could just start it over there. They have everything right there. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you to everybody that, you gave up your time just to come over here so we could all try to, give a little bit of support. A todos. Gracias por venir.
I think next is Marisela.
Come your minute.
Are there two Mariselas? I'm not sure. Right? Maybe next doors. Is that you? Oh, yeah, that's you. Yeah.
She has 9 minutes. Can we set the timer for this? Thank you.
9 minutes.
I have just had a local question. I was wondering, is the Human Services Campus classification already approved by the council?
No, ma'am.
So
We are a recommending body only. Any decisions, and all decisions are made by city council. We just give them advice as we see it from our perspective, for or against.
so it's still being considered like
It will be,
it's not
my
included.
understanding is it will be voted on and approved or disapproved, whatever they decide to do on Thursday.
I have a couple of points that are very important. I'm glad some individuals gave up their time for me. One of the things that I wanted to start out by saying was that, first of all, I'd like to have a continuance in reference to this heavy concern that we have here. And I'd also like to add, in reference to the Prospect Hill Association being neutral. Prospect Hill Association is the neighborhood association that represents my community. I want to take time to make this point because I'd like to make it known that the fact that they are neutral, that does not represent the majority of the community that has presented here and that those that have not presented here. It saddens me that they presented a neutral decision because it makes me think and it makes me question some of the system that we have here in place. What pressures might they have received to pull out so close to the end? Makes me wonder. And It hurts me because this is America and this is part of what we stand for, justice for all. I feel disillusioned with our system and with their decision to be neutral, because as a neighborhood association, they represent what the community would like. We make up the community. With that in mind, I'd like to go to a couple of other points. I have so many things to cover. I did want to make a point too that excluding all the dramatic testimonies that were brought up in favor of the project, we do have to remember that this is zoning, meeting. And I'd like to ask, with that in mind, how many of the individuals that actually spoke in favor are actually residents of the community that will be impacted? And I know that probably most of them are gone, but I believe that the majority of them are individuals that, for one, are on the board of the Haven for Hope project, so therefore they stand for some type of interest of the project going forward. And two, individuals that have also presented in past meetings, they've represented that they're in favor of the facility being placed in this location. Great concern because here in my hand I have some pictures that demonstrate that the very individuals that have spoken in favor have these very signs that say no loitering, police informed, and in Spanish, no se permitirá vagabundos, se llamará la policía. No vagabundos, we'll call the police. Guadalupe Avenue, right in front of the Catholic Church. I'm here speaking in reference to a very heated issue, and because I'm so nervous, I forgot my presentation over there, so I have to get that real quick. Pictures, representation from individuals that have gone and taken the time to look and have made time out of their own schedule, have presented, and they've presented well, they're part of our neighborhood, whatever they've done to help our cause. But help me understand, I'd like for someone to help me understand the mission. I know we're coming here and we're talking about how this is gonna look beautiful in our community. Well, our community has said that we don't want it in that area. Countless times we have mentioned that we are not against homeless, we're not against the whole project, we're just asking to reconsider the location. It will bring some concerns to the existing community. It will bring great concerns. One of the things in this PowerPoint information that I'd like to talk about is, it's a presentation that I kind of put together. It's a real brief thing, nothing fancy, but it was brought up and it was made up by myself, a concerned citizen of the West Side Task Force, the group that has been formed specifically to address this issue because it's such a great concerning issue. Short presentation. Meanwhile we set up for that, I'd like to take my minutes that I have available to make a couple of other comments. I know that this might not go along the lines, but I'd like to make a point that really concerns me. I'd like for everyone to know that some of the directorship that we have proposed in the Haven for Hope project, they have a different view. And aside from the fact that there might be some vested interest, not sure on that, some conflict of interest as well, I'd like to add just this brief comment that Mr. Margaret commented to the San Antonio Current under the title named Helter Skelter, by Kiko Martinez. It says, the neighborhood is worried about sex offenders coming into the shelter when in reality there are 20 times more in the broader zip code, added Robert Margaret, Executive Director of the Haven for Hope. It just seems a little hypocritical. They weren't ever screaming or yelling about their neighbors or their cousins or friends or co-workers, and suddenly they're targeting literally a handful because they're homeless. I'd like to retake that because we are not against the homeless. We would like just a consideration for the new location of this project. It's such a good project. We can't share the wealth. We can put it in a better location where the individuals will have the ability to have a good space area that will not conflict with any of the existing areas or communities that are already existing there. It brings me back to my presentation. This is something I just put together. It represents the concerns of some of our communities. It says here, the following slide shows the Haven for Hope area properties. Ordinance approved for negotiation and or condemnation.
Here we have the Haven for Hope Site A map. And to us, it seems, when we put this together, that it seems that for the Haven for Hope, it's still a work in progress. This map that was presented to us regarding the Haven for Hope, this is the actual map. But what we've recently discovered is that the rezoning will not cover all the proposed sites or the areas that are considered there. Since most of the properties within the 200 feet buffer have already been bought by the city, it leads us to think, maybe this could have been some of the reasoning why some of those rezoning notices weren't received. A lot of the properties that are identified there have been and are acquired by the city of San Antonio, to our understanding. This map here is the zoning map, of course, that pretty much all of us are familiar with, where it was sent to those within the 200-foot radius. And if you notice, there's properties that are shown there versus what we see on the next slide. What we see on the next slide is the rezoning areas that are being kind of shortened or made smaller. But the colored ones that are outside that line area represent the individuals that were excluded from consideration of those rezoning, I'm not sure what you call them, the little cards, that rezoning notices. So this raises a great concern for us. We're being deprived of the 200-foot radius and deprived of giving our input. Could it be that some of the things that we're looking at is the possible piecemeal rezoning? That's how we feel. We feel that, hey, you know what, you're creating too much conflict. Let's make it look just a little smaller. Let's just make that change so we won't get so much opposition. Well, the community has, they stand for it. They don't, it's not that they're against the homeless. They want just consideration for a different location. We are being affected. And families that are excluded in that area, in the colored areas, Mark 9, 5C, those are residents that have lived in the community for many years. In this slide here, it says other things that should be considered are the locations of the existing community homes, apartments, and via routes, school children, families, and the elderly use. Yes, we are familiar with all that. Here we have different apartments, family homes. And in the yellow, we see the via routes, bus routes, where individuals take the bus routes to wherever location they're going, whatever areas. This concerns us because this is a surrounding area that's within the community. Concerns me because it makes me question, what guarantee does my community have? Does my area where I live have that none of this will happen? In this next slide here, we have the original Haven for Hope boundaries, which is the innermost area. Then we have the outer red lining, which shows the radius of the 1,000-foot buffer. Huge area for an invisible buffer. The following slide, which is pretty impactful, so if you can please place close attention. The following slide shows schools in red stars, universities in orange stars, parks in diamonds, and possible creek hideouts. Watch closely, please. Inner boundaries of the Haven for Hope, 1,000-foot buffer. Schools, universities, schools, parks, creeks with bridges where sometimes homeless decide to head for when there is no place for them to go. This is pretty impactful. Put this together and I was like, oh my goodness, I knew we were being impacted, but as a community, it's not just my community that suffers, it's the location that we're concerned about. This is pretty impactful, and I don't know if anyone from the city took the time to research this, to see how impactful it would, what kind of changes it would bring to our community. If the Haven for Hope is built,
CPS must get involved because there may be the possibility of sex offenders, there may be the possibility of criminals. But you know what? Maybe they might have to shut down a school. You know, in the UDC code book, it talks about the general welfare of the public. It talks about morals, and it talks about some good stuff that looks good on paper. But we're asking of you to please consider this location. And we're not denying that we don't want, it's not that we don't want the project, it's that we're asking for a new location. That's all we're asking for. We can work together. We just we want to share the wealth with everybody. We want it in a different area. I know it sounds funny, but why not? It's such a good project that helps a lot of people. A lot of people that can benefit.
Scarja, your time is up, unless somebody else is willing to cede some more time.
I'll take care of my time. Isabel Montreal.
I just wanted to comment to some of the things that were said in the presentations of some of the individuals that spoke. You know, some of the individuals talked about agencies working together. The agencies already working together. You know, the agencies are already working together. I personally use the Center for Healthcare Services for many things. I use Christian Assistance Ministries for many things for my patients that I refer to. But you know what? The agencies are working together. And one of the things that's happening is, you know, some of these agencies even see the same patients. They know them by their name because there is the revolving door. Another individual that did comment on the revolving door talked about how some individuals choose to be homeless. You know, and it's not that they choose. Maybe they are dealing with circumstantial things that they have happened in life. But if you really want to know someone who has hands-on experience and a daily experience with these individuals, they prefer to stay homeless. And those are the individuals that we're concerned about this impactful map. Those are the individuals that when they don't make it on time to that 24-hour shelter, or they're not meeting the requirements, or they're not willing to, by chance, go according to the ordinances and the rules that are there, those are the individuals that we're concerned about. Because believe me, there are some, working in the field of social work for the past 10 years, there are some individuals that choose to stay homeless. It's not that they've been homeless for 5 years because the system has failed them. We have a good system that can provide good services. They are homeless, those that have been for that many years, because they choose to. I work with veteran individuals, I work with mentally ill individuals in a psychiatric realm, in a secure unit, psychiatric unit. And I am familiar with some of the things that they deal with. This is what poses great concern, because this project, which started off for shelter for women, children, and individuals that are homeless, turned out to be a jail diversion program, turned out to be a substance abuse area that can provide for detoxification. The safety of our people is what we're looking at. The safety of our people. Those that are homeless, and also those that are going to go and benefit from the services. That's what we're looking at. I ask you to please help me understand how we're going to be impacted negatively. You know, that's my understanding, and I have hands-on experience. I lived in that neighborhood for the past 32 years, 34. You know, and I have great concerns. I'd like to see better developments, somewhat like the King Williams area. Why not? We're good for it. You know, and with all the policing that we can have available or already available to us, maybe, you know, we can keep that area good and clean. The areas that the Haven for Hope individual representatives have identified as blighted, which are those warehouses, are what are the areas that...
Excuse me, but your time has expired again, so...
That's it? That's it.
Thank you. Continue.
The areas that have been in previous meetings, city meetings, been considered blighted by the representatives of the Haven for Hope. Those are areas that have had already been bought out by the city. And despite our frequent calls to code compliance, hey, nobody's gone out. It takes 10 to 14 days before someone responds. So yeah, our area looks a little bit in need of help. But you know what? Frankly, the fact that some of those warehouses have been vacant kind of makes me feel a little safer. Safer because the magnitude of the project that they're proposing to build it's enormous. Acres. And despite the fact that they have rezoned, or are only trying to rezone a certain portion that makes it look smaller, well, that all looks good. But you know what? There's ordinances that have already been passed where it demonstrates that the city of San Antonio still owns those areas. So now that we've passed that amendment, they might come back and claim it. And where will they extend to? Because community lives in the surrounding areas. That's what we mean by eminent domain. We know the city does not look 1 year ahead of time. The city looks 10, 15 years ahead of the projects. And this is what concerns us. We live there, and we've lived there for the past 30, 40 years, 34. But it concerns us because of what the future holds for us. Do we have a voice? We ask of you, please consider. These amendments that have been passed are going to impact us pretty negatively because of different programs that have been opened up, different doors that have been opened up, and without the concern for the community, the impacted community that is in the direct area. I ask of you, help me understand. Help me understand the mission of the Haven for Hope that can assist and help some homeless, that can assist and help some individuals in need, but can totally forget about an existing community. I also want to type that sorry for the lack of amount of people we had here present, because our representative, when she gave out her city information, directed our Hispanic population to a different address of 114 West Commerce for some of the presentations that we're doing here. We have great concern. Somehow it feels that we can still have some faith in our justice system, in you as zoning commissioners, and I don't like to put the burden on anyone else, but really our well-being, our welfare, our public welfare is at stake. I have some brief comments from an individual contact person we have in Phoenix, Arizona, who contacted some of the small businesses that are left. It says, I called up the map and began to notice the area was not residential as the city of San Antonio has proposed. Still, there are quite a few private businesses in the area, shelters, so I called some of these.
Ma'am, I hate to keep interrupting, but your time has expired again. Your name, please. Thank you.
Some of the comments were from the West Coast countertops. Holly says there's issues in the vicinity. The employees park in a gated lot, but customers park in unprotected and have had few broken windows. Holly also talks of individuals who walk the area, and some have entered the businesses to use the bathroom. From someone else, Dave has a pair of binoculars and watches the illegal activity that goes on among the folks that are drawn to the shelter. He also notes the fact that there is business lost because too many customers are afraid to go in the vicinity. One of the most vocal states, Mike is the most vocal of the people I was able to contact. Being that his business is family owned and operated, which we do have small businesses, and he has seen the area deteriorate over the years. When the original proposal was up for discussion, the city council meeting there was strong opposition, but he says it passed anyways. Hopefully that doesn't happen. The all-out lack of law enforcement in the area is what allows the major problems to flourish. According to Mike, everything from drugs being sold in the streets to robberies to attacks are everyday occurrences, but to his knowledge are never reported in the news media, similar to what's been happening to us. This is what concerns me. These are individuals that have taken the time, they don't live here in San Antonio, but have taken the time to go interview different businesses that have somehow been impacted by a huge project. And you know what, San Antonio is going to run a pilot project we've never seen one of its kind. This is a mega shelter. It's a mega shelter, and that's why we're concerned. You know what? There's small shelters like the Sam shelter. Yes, it's overpopulated. We all know that by what we see. But this mega shelter, it's going to be bringing individuals, different kind of tourism, homeless tourism. There's people in Phoenix talking about, you know what? Hey, I'm going to go head up to that new Haven for Hope project that they're opening up. There's individuals that are talking of that. We have individuals that might be available for you to contact if you'd like to. But you know, why make this into a dog and pony show? You know, we've come with our facts, and what we're asking is to please consider not passing the zoning for this project. You know, we're not demolishing the project. We're not saying do away with all these wonderful services that are available. All we're asking is to please work with us and ask them to look for a different location. It's going to have a great impact in the community. Maybe not in communities where other individuals live, but it's going to have an impact in the community where they're going to build it. And that's what we're asking. We're asking for a continuance because there's so many things that are not being addressed. This is a rushed project. And I'm sorry to keep you here so late, I know. But this is a rushed project because there are many individuals that are not being heard for what they're asking for.
I want to give my minutes to Emilio Garza.
Hortensia?
To Emilio.
Right.
To Emilio. To Emilio. Taylor.
Emilio? Margarita?
How can I make that? You volunteer to have this thing placed in your neighborhood. Yes, right among with all your neighbors there, so. Yes. I mean, what do you say, Joe? As public service, I have got the press releases for you tonight. Your slogan could be, you can mimic this with Statue of Liberty by saying, you give me your sex predators, your panhandlers, your urinators on public property, and I will give, and the neighbors will give you shelter. Well, why not, sir? My guy, what do you say? I can help you tonight if you want.
I'll wait my turn.
Oh, you'll wait your turn. You see what your hesitance. Okay, well,
I don't want you to lose your minutes.
okay, well, this seems like such a worthy project. I thought you would jump right in on that. Anyway, that's what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. These people are being violated. I don't see any movement, especially from what I saw the last week. First of all, on August 22nd, we came here and just four of us. Patty Radel came up here. I'm confused. She came up here. Mr. Campos was here. She said she wanted, the way she understood it, the housing part of it is out. The commissioner that was up here running it, I called Mr. Green to come up here to clarify that. But we have it on minutes, and she clearly stated that they had removed it, but everybody here has been talking that housing is a part. Mr. Campos came up here after Ms. Radel said they were going to have a conversation, you could clearly hear it on the minutes, and somebody advised her that, because she said, yes, it's gone, and she told that to the chairman. Now, Mr. Campos came back and clarified and said, no, it was green space for future. 6 acres of it, right, Mr. Campos, for future. So what is this thing, seriously? You know, they changed it all around, and I walked in here a little late, but they change it in front of, on a daily basis to us. There is no community input. My God, You know, one of the biggest things, this is me your lifestyle. I gotta sleep with me at night. Once I put my head down, I gotta know I can sleep with me. One of these things that's real clear on this Haven of Hope board, it's a board. You got no accredited people here with licenses. Where's the doctor? The PH doctor? Where's the psychiatrist that's gonna be needed for this institution? This is a foundation of monies. This is not a board. Then you had Judge Kreider appointed and Jed made this. What are you gonna do when the next mayor comes on board? On this board? What are you gonna do then? All they know how to do is make money. Nobody has here the credentials to run this operation. Nobody. Can I borrow or can I do something to gather up $15 million and everybody back like Bill Greedy? $5 million came from the county, $10 million came from the city, that's $15 million. What race is that? That's our taxpayer money. Yours too. In the next number of years, we're gonna pay for this. They brought it out in our community meeting with this Alban. They already told us, we're paying for this. His money only starts for so much, it runs out, we pick up the tab. That's the way it's gonna happen. Alamodome, Pink Elephant, same thing. The Fiesta Plaza Mall, remember that one? The Pink Elephant, where UTSA sits on now? Ain't nothing different. Ain't nothing different. We're battling a two-headed monster. Two-headed monster is what we're battling. Me, I gotta sleep with me at night. I'm disgusted, to come back after being in the field. I was born and raised here. Barnhill Elementary, Irving Middle School, and Foxhead. I walked all through there, up and down. I grew up in the area. I can't believe my city doesn't give me my right. And amendment, zoning, and the whole 9 yards. I mean, I did it the honest and the right way. Tomorrow, and I'm saying it now on the record, tomorrow I turned down $1 million deal that I had for the city. I had to sleep with me at night. I'm disgusted how everybody's handled this. But the good thing about it is that I got property not that far from the Dwyer, so I got something to fall back on. Because I worked hard, but I got properties in other places around the city. But because I choose to live there, you take the right from me. Because I choose to live there, and the color of my skin is the prejudice that I receive. I go on the record. This thing, you guys, the city, everybody, how can you sleep at night and know that there's a community? Because I won't live and buy a house in Stone Oak? Because I won't go to Hollywood Park? Because I won't go to Shenandoah Park? Or buy one of these nice houses that Henry Cesar is going to do now on the south side? I'm discriminated upon. I don't need no work to make this $1 million deal with the city. I'm disgusted at what everybody represents that does not give us a chance. I said a two-headed monster. A two-headed monster in the beginning that pertains to this. I can get up every day and challenge my life to make a dollar. And I've done quite well for myself. I can sleep at night with what I do. It's a two-headed monster. Patty Radel formed this Haven for Hope. And at the same token, formed another one, the WDC, that Mr. Martinez sits on. How are we being judged perfect? It's right here. It's right here. Rob Radel sits on there. Is that so much why the development for the MF, third world multifamily, housing and all this is going on there? This is so great. I mean, Bill Reed comes in here, he's gone. Man alive. This is insane. It's insane. It is insane. I come back to my city. I've been back. I think I'm going on a year back. Chasing hurricanes, Florida, Louisiana. And that's really, oh man, I can't believe this thing. You can make an honest buck putting your pants every day and waking up and not having to steal from an individual and then pat yourself in the back. Because I know greedy, he can turn around and pat me in the back. And that's what it is. It's backward deals. That's all it is. Prove me otherwise. I love my city, but I can't work for my city. This is disgusting. And I say it, how can I get a fair judgment when there's biased opinions on boards? How can I get an honest, fair shake on this? I don't have one. But you know what? I'll sleep at night. I'll wake up tomorrow. But this thing is going to go on. And what I have done today is going to go on. People that sit in power fall every day, fall and rise. Fall and rise. I'm 38 years old and this is not my first meeting. To be totally honest and frank with you guys, somebody has to sacrifice for the fight to actually launch. This thing doesn't stop here. You pass it, you go to city council, this mayor ain't gonna be on there forever. This mayor ain't gonna be on there forever, and there's gotta be justice. I voted for Luis Galvan because I voted for Raul Gomez after he and I talked, and he asked me about my concerns. And I said, this is one of my biggest concerns. This is the WC. And a lot of us met with him. He turned around and he told us, yes, we're going to turn around and help people. And Mr. Gomez turned around and went the other way. But funny, that's the way politics is. But the biggest wrong thing that we did only in 2 weeks, she only pulled 29 votes. Means there's power when you go out there and you talk to the individual. This only can happen. This only can happen. And the powers that be have already shown since April 19, 2007, what you guys decided to do. Bad thing about it is, we got a number of months for recalls on 1 and 5, and we will get it. We will get it. Thank you guys.
Another disseminate. Altagracia, Oresti. Annabelle Oresti. Belinda Rodriguez. This one is tough for me to read.
I can't read the first name. The last name is E-R-A. Terra. Sarah, maybe.
C-R-A.
Actually had signed in favor and brought the application to against. That would help identify you.
Daniel Monreal. Portillo. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are they here? Yes. What was the name again?
I honestly
He has a copy.
No, maybe it's the one that y'all couldn't read right now that I'm on. The first thing is kind of hard to say.
Okay, that's one.
The two names again?
What was the first name?
Are they here?
Yes.
I need to see it. Please stand up.
I'll let you have that one. I don't have any else.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just here, my name is Daniel Monreal, and I just want to, after sitting down, waiting all this time, you know, listening to Mr. Westheimer and Mr. Martinez, Mr. Valdez, that commented on trying to, at the beginning, you know, I was like, hey, they're in favor. The questions that they were asking were kind of in favor of us, or they're trying to get answers for their vote. And about 2 weeks ago, y'all voted on an issue that is similar, where this developer wanted to develop housing, affordable housing in the neighborhood. The ones that were against was the neighborhood association, and y'all gave them that courtesy for the neighborhood association of a 30-day. You'll give them 30 days for the developer to go in there and explain, because the neighborhood association needed time to see what he had to offer, you know, negotiate. And that surprised me, because Mr. Martinez came out and, you know, and gave that association that opportunity. Ms. Hawkins also. She also went and gave that opportunity, and y'all voted to give that opportunity to that neighborhood association. We come before you, which is totally different.
That concludes those who have signed up in opposition. At this time, we'll give one person from the proponent side, the for side, a chance for a short rebuttal. Robert, it looks like it's you.
Everybody's pointing at me. Well, thank you very much. I know it's been a long night, and I keep it real short. A couple little specific issues that went around. Some of the pictures, I know we've had some questions on that. We someday tonight we've asked to see copies. We've not seen copies of those. We'd like to see copies. I don't know what they're actually of or able. So, you know, that's one issue I know about. Again, want to reiterate the quality of the operation is key. The management of this operation is absolutely critical, and we commit 100% to running this right, doing it right, building it right, but also operating it correctly. And with that, unless you have any questions, thank you for your time, and really thank you for whichever way you all go. Thank you for your service. I can't believe you've been here since early this morning, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Roberts.
In terms of the size of the facility and the operation of the division, the second part of that question are related to is the people you are not going to take off the street because they don't want to be taken off the street. We heard that discussion. How many of those that we currently see are you going to be able to house? Do you think you'll be able to attract and get transformed? And how many do you think we'll continue to see in the same kind of condition in the same places?
That's a very sophisticated question, and big people spend a lot of money trying to figure that out in other cities. But just taking guesses, if you use our moment in time study, and Dennis, feel free to jump in here. My guess is we're going to get about 80 to 85% off the street into the campus, and part of that is the critical success of that is not so much what happens inside the campus, it's also what's not happening outside the campus. The street theater program we talked about, the quality of life ordinances, which are off-site, those have to be fully coordinated for this to be successful, to get high penetration numbers. And in the Phoenix in particular has been pretty successful of how they phased in their campus by first offering sort of voluntary things, turning on the magnets, then they turned off the magnets, then they did outreach teams. And that seems to work real well. Miami continues to do outreach teams all the time. You know, that's an operation that never ends, if you will. But I think off the top, you're probably going to get about 80%, just right off the top.
And how does the location help with sheltering, but offering the community from the 20% that won't go into the neighborhood?
Well, I think it structurally occurs because you have the 22 acres. I think the other part that occurs is right now, before I came over tonight at 4:30, I drove the area, counted roughly 20 some odd homeless people right there, right now, before the evening started. And at night, the homeless population goes up in the neighborhood, not down. And so all those folks will start to come into the inside. So we already have an immediate benefit of that. And people don't roam neighborhoods. That's just me. You're not going to find a homeless person roaming a neighborhood. It doesn't happen that way. Where they do is homeless folks stay where the services are being provided, food services and such. So if you the more you put on the inside of the campus, hence that little conversation we had about the dog kennel, people come in. If you don't have a dog kennel on the inside, an animal on the inside, anybody who owns pets will not come inside.
My question is more, I know now who you're going to attract, how you're going to get them inside. I've talked about the 20% that remain outside, and how you're going to keep your facility from attracting them to the vicinity so that they spill over into them.
Yeah, and those go, and Dennis, if you want to jump in, the really super chronic are sort of disappear into the fabric. The folks like on Steve Streeter's show, the guy that was in the car and you never could even see. And so that's super, super chronic. And I'm guessing in San Antonio that would be probably 180, maybe just running the map off of other cities. It's probably 180-ish for the whole city.
You can see where I'm going.
Right, no, I see, yeah.
Someplace else.
Yeah, they're not, they follow food. And so unless you offer food on the other, if food services jump over the campus, you got a problem. If they don't jump over the campus or turn off, we've solved the problem.
One last thing is that the campus itself will be a buffer. So the homeless people are in the central downtown or the near west side. So the likelihood of someone not wanting to be on campus, going all the way around the campus is not feasible. The other part, SAPD is committed to doubling their patrols, both bike and cruiser patrol in that area as we look at working in the 2009 budget. So I think the campus itself will prevent people from entering a neighborhood that aren't part of the campus because they won't be able to traverse it. And now there's not anything blocking them from entering the neighborhood.
Any other questions? Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dennis, and I think Dr. Marbury briefly referred to it. Maricela Garza brought up some good points about San Diego pictures. What is did you visit the San Diego facility?
Well, we both have, and so has Commissioner Valadez. Not having seen the pictures, I'm not aware of it. We were both there. We both visited San Diego multiple times, early morning and in the evening also. And I know that council members, the last time I went there 2 weeks ago, she spent the weekend there and she went there at night. And she said, yes, there were some people over there, but it was managed, controlled. And the times that I've been there, I've only been in that neighborhood once at night. I saw the same thing. It doesn't look anything like our SAM looks presently.
I would echo that, and what I've done in each of the places, I've gone in the day before and actually grown my beard out, worn the sloppy clothes, and actually gone on the street to see how fast police would interdict, and actually stayed overnight in each of these. I've stayed overnight in every city except New York, and the cities that are successful have the interdiction teams that come in and engage and said, why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. If you'd like to stay, we'll move you over here. And that's how the successful cities do it.
Okay, and then if I may continue. Other than Emilio Garza bringing in my other involvement with other committees, he also brought up a good point about the planning commission, about something about the housing aspect, that it was taken out or not taken out, and there's some confusion. Can you clarify that aspect about what happened at that and shed some light on that issue?
Based on input from the community and the council member being sensitive to that input, she asked us to reconsider I believe it's closer to 6 acres that we're proposing on the northwest corner that was going to be for supportive housing, long-term supportive housing. She said that she wasn't ready to look at supporting that, and so we pulled that from consideration for rezoning. Right now it's going to be a green area that we'll use as a buffer for the neighborhood. If it becomes feasible to do in the future, it's something we'll come back and look at, but it's not, we don't have immediate plans for it until we work things out with the community and the council member.
Point of order, which female council person?
You're out of order. I'm sorry.
And Mr., if I may continue, when you say the female councilman, you mean former Councilwoman Radel or?
Councilmember Belmont.
Okay. Did you know of this SAPD office coming into the compound? What is the other closest SAPD office to this area? I mean, we know that Sam Ministries has done good work, but they've got exterior problems, and that's something that American GI Forum has demonstrated. But I'm just curious if y'all are going to bring in an SAPD facility or front office, where's the next closest one? Do you have that answer to that?
Judge Kreider.
You have the central office on the borough, and then you have at 409 South Korea, they have an office as well there. And there'll be a storefront for the police as well on the campus, right with the security.
Okay, and I've got just 2 or 3 more questions. On Maricella's PowerPoint, she showed a map of property owners, and the eminent domain is a big issue, because that's a big issue on the WDC. That as chairman, that I've said that that's something we will not pursue. And I'm curious about this project. I know that you've got eminent domain in your presentation, and it went to the extent of utility easements. But what about the I reiterate, are there homes that are being bought other than the one that was bought at full value?
There was one other home that was vacant that we purchased. There's no homes there's no other additional homes we intend to purchase. The only thing we're asking council to allow to do eminent domain on are for the utility easements, which are not on residential areas, and for the business properties I showed you we have a willing seller, but they're in receivership right now. So on the ordinance for September 6th, we've asked council to remove eminent domain powers only for the utility easement and only for those properties that are in receivership, and that's a business right now.
Okay, and that's a dumpster place.
Yes,
correct. Okay,
which would definitely improve the area.
Mr. Martinez, you have any more?
Yeah, my last question, and it sounds like there was some comments made, strong comments from the opposition in regards to how certain meetings were conducted prior to the zoning process. And that's not an issue that I want to get involved with and determine if it's legal or not legal. But what I do want to know is the zoning commissioner making a decision on this zoning case. Susan, to your knowledge, the zoning process that is mandated by the state of Texas, by state law, for this specific hearing, has that been followed to the T? And do we have the ability to make a decision without there being any infractions in specific regards to zoning and zoning only?
Yes, I feel very confident about that. Every step of the way, legal has been requested to give opinions on deadlines, notice, checked and double checked boundaries and descriptions and notices. I feel very confident all legal requirements have been met.
For the zoning commission to make a decision.
Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Lastly, it was after taking 2 drive-bys of the area that I was very concerned with a lot of the lay of the land and the Sam Shelter not being able to provide services to some of its clients during the day. But I do want to thank Ed Coleman and Carlos Martinez from the GI Forum. I don't know if they're still here, but they lend their time and educated me on their process of how they handle disabled veterans that are homeless in that immediate area. And I think that was important to see the process that they do it in. And that concludes my comments and questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Joe, Mr. Valdez.
Dennis, could I ask you a question in regards to what we're voting on tonight? Dennis, is it true that we're just voting only on actually what structures are there and then to be revitalized into the supportive intervention supportive services such as dental and no residential at this time, women's structures, family structures at all? We're not even considering that tonight, are we?
Yes, you are. The part that's not being considered is the long-term supportive housing, similar to
The one at the upper north by
the northwest or that 6 acres tract. That's similar to what we saw in Chicago. So that's going to be reserved. If the council decides that they want to pursue that, we'll come back and follow the process for that.
That was a transitional type of housing.
Yeah, that's the long-term supportive housing.
So we are voting then also in regards to providing for a family, a women's shelter up there to the east of the project there?
Yes, the family.
I should say west of the project.
You're voting on all residential except for that one spot that's on the 6 acre green spot on the northwest corner.
Okay, thank you. One more thing. Could I, Mr. Finger, just in regards to a structure to be a haven, I hope to be built in my neighborhood, for heaven's sakes, I would welcome it. I mean, a new structure in our neighborhood, a new building, a clean building. I think even the homeless, they're so proud to be able to come into a facility such as that. We underestimate what their pride. They do have pride. And just like I do, I chose to move into District 5, one of the poorest districts I wasn't even aware of. We're one of the poorest, and I'm there to revitalize and help that district to make it better, the best it can be. Those homeless people right there, why should we move them to another area when they're already there? Let's provide them a home right there where they can be the best they can be and guide them to a better service. These people that live in that area, well, I've heard them, but they're telling me to move it to another area. Why? Why should we bus people all the way across the city to give them a service like that when they're there? But that's all I have to say at this time, but then I'll say more in just a moment. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments before we close the case? Mr. Gray.
I don't know what kind of stir this is going to cause, but is there anyone in the audience that lives within 5 or 6 blocks of the American GI Forum? Do you?
Yes.
If you do, stand up. Both of you do?
Yes.
Just real quick, can you recount for me what that experience has been like? Is that a problematic place?
The GI Forum is totally different to what they're proposing. You see them, we knew they were there, because you see them out when you're facing West Martin, they have bay doors, and you can see them on the outside. And yes, you also see them on the they're controlled.
You can see them, but do they cause problems? I guess that's what I'm really trying to get to is, that's been there for a year or two, I guess, and I just want to know what kind of impact it has on the community. And actually, could you come up to the microphone? And just quick, you have a propensity to be a little bit long.
That's what they would tell me in school, but I will keep this short. I think what Emilio's talking about is the magnitude of the project that they're looking to construct.
That's not what I want to hear. What I want to hear is, are there problems with that facility?
I'm sure there have been.
No, that's not what I want to hear. You live within 5 or 6 blocks. Have you had any problems with that facility?
Not directly.
Thank you. And that.
But the magnitude of the project is totally different, sir. We're looking to house over 600 to 800 people as compared to the small amount of veterans that are assisted there. Thank you, sir.
And I have one other question, just real quick. For Mr. Daniel Monreal. Could you come up, please?
You can be recorded.
You made a comment that really kind of hit home with me, and that was the comment about we grant other homeowner associations continuances to work things out, and in effect we granted a 2-week continuance on this case because we heard it 2 weeks ago, and now we're hearing it again. We've all been here for over 12 hours now. And so we, in effect, we've granted a continuance for this. And what I would ask of you is, in that time, has the opposition organized anything or done anything to address any of the issues that you addressed to us? Have you contacted all the city council people? Have you contacted all of the zoning commissioners? What's been your approach in the last 2 weeks?
It's been already about 3 weeks since I've wanted to talk to my city council person, Mariela Cisneros. And I've already ran into his aide twice. To now they have called me. Also wanted to talk to Ms. Galvan. I gave my phone number. And up to now they haven't called me. It's already been about 3 weeks. I also called the office of Ms. Cipriani, and also they haven't contacted me. I also called, I didn't call all the city council people, but you know, that kind of gets discouraging because they don't call back. So that tells me that they don't want to discuss it because they already made up their mind. So, you know, so I have done that. I've tried to, and she's here. I don't know what to put it there, but you know, there's people here that I've spoken to try to get these meetings to try to see. Like the same way I haven't contacted Bill, but you know, now that I have this opportunity, you know, we're in the same situation, both of us. You know, I can say the same thing, but you know, it kind of sounds rude. You know, who am I for y'all to contact me or anybody of us to hear our concerns, you know, and that's what we're doing right now. And that's why I said I would love to know like why you voted the way you voted. You know, it's kind of fair. After you've heard all our concerns, you know, some personal things, you know, that are affecting us. You know, it's only fair.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for your answer. The reason that I asked that question is because, in my opinion, this is a very open commission. We don't come in here with our minds made up about anything, about any case.
Yeah.
And That's been insinuated several times this evening, and I don't believe, because I sit on this side of the fence, and I know that we don't talk about things in the back room and then come out here and put on a show for anyone. This is real. We're all deciding, we're listening, and we're going to make our own decisions based on this. And in other cases, I get bombarded with telephone calls. I mean, 30 to 50 calls on any given case. I have not received one.
Way that you would like, that does not mean that we have not listened. We listen very intently, and our decision is based on comments from both sides. So just because we don't agree with you does not mean that we have not listened, regardless of how this vote may come out. I have no idea right now. I think I know how one person's going to vote. I think that's it. And that's not even me. Any other questions from any other commissioners? Commissioner Danbury first.
I have a question for legal. I think I can ask this. We have been threatened here that we did something illegal on that UDC vote. Did we do anything illegal in your mind?
No.
Okay, thank you.
None.
Okay. And I do have a brief statement if you wouldn't mind.
Go ahead.
First off, I've served on this commission for about a fourth the time that young man down there has. I'm a hell of a lot older. But about 1.5 years, and every time I come to a meeting, I learn something else. We all volunteer for this. It's not, I mean, you're not going to get rich on this job. Okay? We do serve at the graces of our district council people to advise them on land use. That's what our job is. And we listen, and sometimes we're not very popular, and sometimes we are. It depends on which side you're on. But I always learn something new, but this one has been pretty heart-wrenching for me because I'm a neighborhood person. I always have been a neighborhood president in my neighborhood. And I really came in and bought into this empowerment thing that the city has set up. I mean, through the planning and zoning process, the city's empowered the communities to have a stake in their debts that are going to be kept. And that's the one perception that I think that should be addressed. Also, another thing that I think is important is that I think all community groups ought to be put on notice that this empowerment that we try to give them can be circumvented for the community as a whole. I mean, if we think that we've got all this power as a small group, we don't when the community comes. So I think we're probably also victims of a done deal. I'm not, you know, I mean, I'm looking here at the current issue, and here's a council person saying, quote, "I'm still one of the biggest advocates for the Haven. We already invested quite a bit into this project, not to see it through." Tell me that's not a done deal. Okay, I feel that with you too. Okay, I can't do anything about it, but it's you know, I feel it. I do hope that Dr. Marva gang come out with more security, help. Make a few. I was glad to see the judge here. They're buying into it. All right, slapping it to these people. They're going to vote for it.
Before we close the case, we still have a chance for discussion after we close the case. Okay, thank you, Mr. Campa. At this time, the case is closed. Mr. Valdez.
Good evening, and well, it's come to an end. Here we're going to decide our final vote here on this. In regards to case number Z 2007-217, I want to make one last comment on my thoughts, and I'll proceed with the motion. The past month, I've learned in August, I've learned about the homelessness and the intervention support services programs provided. Visiting and talking with staff at these shelters has been heartwarming to see the community. Facility staff, volunteers striving to feed, clothe, and guide these individuals to a better quality of life. Mr. Mayor Harburg and San Antonio Community Leader, Mr. Bill Greehey, and past Councilwoman Patty Radel had the vision and challenge to commence to take San Antonio into another level from good to greatness. Mayor Harburg has requested to accelerate this Haven for Hope campus development from a 10-year program to build now. These actions shouldn't be confused with haste. Our city will expand these health services in this proposed campus and at the same time seeking to reduce homelessness. I just asked Mr. Mark Marbutt, Executive Director of Haven for Hope and City of San Antonio Community Initiative Division Department, to work with the adjacent neighborhoods and continue to involve them in the planning process. I therefore motion to amend the City of San Antonio rezoning from I-1, I-2 to C3 NAS.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, any comments? Seeing none, at this time we will take a roll call.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Westheimer?
Yes.
Mr. Briones?
Yes.
Mr. Valadez?
Yes.
Mr. Gadberry?
Yes.
Ms. Wright? Yes. Mr. Sherrill?
Aye. This motion passes for recommendation of approval. I thank each one of you for being here. I know it's been a long night, and we have listened to both sides. Thank you. Is there any other thing we need to be aware of? No, nothing. Okay, this meeting is adjourned.